what? The screens are very messed up. I am Murray. Welcome to the Albarian, where we play TTRPGs and have a hoot. No, I did not prep anything in advance. We're literally doing it by the seat of the pants. So, there's a top half of my face. Who's that sponsor? Well, I fix this.
Yeah, okay, ladies and gentlemen. Do you need guidance on life, auto, or homeowners insurance? Contact Kate Woolman State Farm for all of your insurance needs. Rates can be more affordable than you think, and protect what matters most to you is important. Call Ben at 719-539-6265, and I'll set you up with what you need. That's 719-539-6265.
Nice. We got your face. I think we've got your voice. We do have your voice as well, so...
Hopefully.
Hopefully. There we go. I think that's... You know what? That'll
There
do,
we
right?
go.
That'll do.
I have conjured myself into existence.
Here we go. I'm going to put this one behind. Oh, no. Alright, fixed. There it is. Perfect. Hey, hi, everyone. What's up? How are you? How did you all enjoy part 3 of the Wilds with Jacked Wizardry?
Did y'all enjoy the Muscle Wizard shenanigans?
Muscle Wizard, what the heck? Muscle Wizard, Happy Barbarian, Mischievous Druid, Sleazy Bard. Well, that one's normal.
Very normal. So normal, we kind of stopped realizing that, Sleazy Bards were even slightly unusual. It's just like, oh yes, here's the Bard.
Here's the Bard.
He is horny.
You used Vicious Mockery? Oh, surprising.
On a commoner.
Nonetheless. Oh, my goodness. Hi, Hans. What's up, Circus?
Oh,
there's a
and
tangerine
hi!
there. Hello, Michael. How art? And Zelda Elf 90 Studios. Or should we call you Gale Elf now? Oh, yeah.
The Gale Simp, yes.
The Gale Simp.
By the way, if you are being plagued by Gale posting or Virgil posting or anything similar, just so you know, the solution to this is bean posting. Post pictures of baked beans. Doesn't matter what kind of photos they are, just beans.
I like my beans, sir. Oh, Fiendtail's comic is here too. Hello. What am I hitting?
Hi, everybody.
Notebooks. Well, we're
Yes.
we
The
are
big bean.
the big bean. I still say that bean was not on toast. Okay, that was not toast. That was bread. There's a difference between toast and bread.
Yeah,
Bread's not toasted.
See, that is bread that was put into the toaster. The toast was turned down to the lowest setting. And it's basically just toasted because you're going to be putting something really greasy on it, and you want it to soak up the grease instead of becoming slog. But, yeah, in terms of actual toast, it's not going to do anything against that bean.
Yeah. It's just going to be a sloggy mush at the bottom.
You see Zelda hissing in chat. This is how you know that it works, people. Bean posting is the cure to simp posting.
The plague. It is terrifying. As Kamish emanates even more sexual energy in person. You think it's already overwhelming when he makes you laugh to you with his eyes and twitch. The face-to-face experience is even more erotic.
The sexual tension is so thick that you can literally see it from orbit.
You can lap it up from here.
Alright.
Shall we get to points?
Yes, we should. Tales of Andrea. How would you, if you had to summarize this campaign for someone in, like 5 minutes, how would you do so?
I could do it in one word. Consequences.
Yeah, I need to know the story of exactly how they got their name, because I imagine they were basically an unrelenting force of nature that just kept showing up and wrecking everyone's shit.
Pretty much, yeah. There's a lot of factors that kind of went into it. First, we have one of the characters, Andrea, who is hates everything, society, life, and all these wonderful places where he's being brought to. Doesn't want to follow his destiny, but is very clear to be destined for something and shoved onto this journey. There's the Zorai, who started off inside it. There was the Tiefling Ranger, who just constantly could not keep anything in his pants, and was just always getting in trouble with everything, challenging social norms all the time, challenging the party. It was a wreck. Praspidus, who was the leader, but didn't want to be the leader, always wanted to be in the background, but was clearly elected as the leader, so had some struggles there. Unfortunately, he died, so we couldn't go through with fully discovering his character and his growth, which is quite sad.
Okay.
Zorai left.
Why his name doesn't sound familiar?
Yeah. But then I think the biggest problem they had was Brolog, actually, who was a follower of the Creed. Creed 321.
Bro, I know just from like osmosis that Brolog is basically like, you have a train, he is the train derailer.
Yeah. You want to say we? Great. You're going to find yourself either skinned, beheaded, or at some point cut by his axe. Because that's offensive. Putting anything in a plural, anyone in a group notion that is direct and in reference to exact people is against the creed. It has to be individual. It's always the individual. And he got quite challenged inside the future with it, as he encountered a troll collective that spoke purely through telekinesis, or telepathy. Telepathy. So they didn't have eyes or anything, so they would communicate through that, and they were very communal. So we had to, and he was supposed to take charge of them. So we went through this whole discussion of, well, what does that mean? Like, what does the community mean? Like, what is it? How does Brolog survive this? And went through and actually defined the community as a one unit, so he could refer to the trolls as a singular unit because they were so in sync with each other. And he was like, I could see it. Like, it's a loophole in his beliefs of sorts.
So basically, all the trolls are just Kevin, and he just treats them all exactly like the same person.
Yeah, Kevin. They're all Kevin.
Loophole.
I'm pretty sure we made the lore of it to begin with, that they didn't have names when they were first discovered. So the trolls were just trolls. They were people that spoke for themselves through each other constantly as one congruent unit. So he ended up actually giving them names.
I'm just kind of picturing the Spore guys from Baldur's Gate.
Oh, we got those too.
Oh, nice.
Through one of the characters who turned himself into a tree.
You will become the Swamp Wizard.
You will be the Swamp Wizard. Aberrations, actually. It was Vaughn's second character, follow-up to Praspidus, who died in the Isle of Dreams.
Ah, okay, that's what the character was. Okay.
Yeah, he, through the course of their exploration and going about discovering these trees of sorts, like these, I believe I just called them soul trees, very unoriginal. But these trees that would eat and lap up the souls of the people who died within the land. Going through their journeys, they discovered that there were quite a few of them in the land, and it was the reason why magic was actually not present in Andrea when they first arrived. When they started casting spells, people were surprised. They're like, what the heck are you doing? Like, what is that? It's because it'd been, essentially, you could say, genetically moved out of the stream of the people, because it was all eaten up by those trees, these facsimiles that were created by the Mad Mage Marcus, so that he could harvest the power in order to do something with it.
The hated Marcus. I've heard of this character.
Yeah. He's great.
Alright, so what other party characters do we have?
We had Anubisai at the beginning as well, but they were very, very strong. Basically built off of an Iron Golem template. So we had to find an exit for them. And it was sensible. Like, they realized the party they were with were weak and they wanted power. So they were going to go to where the front line of combat was. Fortunately, they got in a little too much trouble with the governance that they walked into and got thrown in a very deep, dark pit and deep, dark hole and disappeared for the rest of the campaign.
Oh no.
Oh no. That was followed up, though, by Fine Storm, who was
Pirate
from
King.
Miradai. Yeah, Pirate King. He actually came from Miradai. He was a follower of the Knowing, part of the Knowing's chapel inside the Notch, where they now know is, and how to get into, because they have a key for it now. In Campaign 2, though. So
See,
something
this is why I wanted you to cover Campaign 1 first.
True, that was a good point.
There might not be very much that covers over, but there's going to be these few lore bits that make you go, ah!
Like, we did know about that beforehand. But he came up and joined the crew, was asked to join them by one of the second in command of the Chalice Estates. So fun little fact, actually, kind of derailing my thought there. This campaign was actually designed in two campaigns. They were first supposed to go into the continent of Andrea, kind of settle the differences there and start following and discovering the path of where Marcus is, but finding different things and using the whole conflict between Recloria, which is on the left hand of Andrea, and Lebon on the right side, and settling those differences. And then they were supposed to follow the path of the trees and go up to the islands and have a whole seafaring campaign up there. But with this party, when they created their characters, I was like, there's no way I'm keeping them off the sea. So I threw them all together and went, it's going to be one campaign. We're doing it all.
Great, we do it live!
We're doing it live! So we did. And I was right.
That's
I
how
threw
you
them
get the first campaign.
Yeah. I threw them in a city where like games of nations was going on, and the city got attacked and destroyed by the first appearance of what did I call him?
Is this your big bad evil guy, or is he
Yeah.
the dragon to the big bad evil guy?
No, it's the big bag evil guy, not the giant scaled fire breathing winged lizard. I think is what they called it.
Oh, so they specifically called it not a dragon.
They called it by descriptors. It was awful.
That is a really big scale chicken.
The scale. Well, that's a real big scale chicken there.
No, that's definitely a goose. Scale goose.
Oh,
lizard
the
goose.
unknown. There it is. There we go. Our bunny trail had it. So the unknown first appeared and brought up his armies into this place, destroying the entire city. I thought they might flee deeper into Lebon, or maybe back into the neutral zone. I should bring up a map for this as well.
I did see the map.
Yeah, I don't know if
Yeah, the people at home might be might help
want
with
a
this.
map. Yeah, let me put that in there. But no, they didn't. They didn't flee to that. Instead, they went north to the harbor, and they got on a boat and left on the boat and didn't go back to shore and just kept going on the
Look,
boat.
we can't say crap. What has our party done at the Wild campaign? We just sawed it off into the woods at the first opportunity.
No, we want to go to the woods. We don't like it here.
But we
Into the
ignored
woods.
the goblin. We ignored the goblin trying to give us a quest, and we're just like, yeah, let's go talk to this hermit we heard. Yeah, I can relate to that. Just take the nearest boat, go out to the sea, and see what chaos you find.
It is ultimately what led to the death of Prospidus, because one of the first islands they went to was the Isle of Dreams, where a city used to exist, but something was birthed there through some means. It was actually Marcus. He created this creature that would feast off of people in their dreams. So if you fell asleep, it would come in and actually devour your soul.
Oh,
through
great.
your
So
dreams.
he made Freddy Krueger. Good job,
Yeah,
Marcus.
he made Freddy Krueger. I may have watched that movie and then created that creature and said, this will be fun. It was.
I mean,
not.
in a
It was actually
D&D
fun.
setting,
I loved it.
it can very quickly get apocalyptic. Cause,
Oh, yeah.
ooh,
Oh, yeah. They, the fun little fact on that point as well. Once they solved that, they saved the tree, learnt a lot more about the trees and what they were. And they also, during that time, they didn't realize it, but they had met the knowing god. And a big key lore point at Nathriel, actually, that we should talk about, up to this point, is that there is only one god of Nathriel, Eshnar.
yeah, I've heard
No
a few
further
things
of
about
that.
some of these other gods, right?
Yeah. In the document I sent you for Irodai, there's a lot of gods listed there, right?
Yeah, there
None
are.
of them were there. There was only one god, Eshnar, during that
Yeah.
time. All the other gods, many years ago, had been basically banished by Eshnar, who somehow seized ascension through some means and took over the celestial plane, kicking them all down, banishing them from it, turning them into mortal bodies that were essentially undying until they ran out of power, or until he found them, killed them, and took it.
Oh, so he basically just flipped the chessboard and everyone fell back to Earth then.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That had to suck for them. Like, oh hey, you're a god. Now you're stuck on Earth. Enjoy.
Enjoy. Have fun. It's devastating here.
When I came in, I'm pretty sure that was around the time when there was some godhood shenanigans going on.
Some good godhood shenanigans.
Yes, we should probably continue with the rest of the player characters. Who was the last one we touched on?
Fine Storm.
Yes, Fine Storm.
Fine Storm, the Tabaxi. Oh gosh, we had quite a few. That's why we call them the consequences as well. We went through quite a few characters.
Oh jeez.
Zorai, the tiefling,
the consequences of their own actions.
Of their own actions. Zorai was a tiefling ranger. Brolog's a barbarian. Loxodon barbarian. Yeah, thank you. And
I learned that
Praspidus
because of him, actually.
Yeah. I never thought I would have a Loxodon at a table, but hey, that was cool. He chose it. And then Praspidus was a Magus fighter. Nathriel was an Asimar cleric. Anubisai was the Iron Golem. Anubisai went away. Fine Storm came up. Fine Storm was a mix of classes, I think, primarily Rogue, Tabaxi. Zorai went away, and we had Jartus come up, who was a Satyr Druid. And Praspidus died for the birth of
Aberrat,
yes. Aberrat, the fungal druid.
Fungal druid, yeah. I remember his character art very well. It's like, oh man, hope that's Moss.
It is, yeah.
Moss. Oh, it is Moss? Okay, good. I just want to know if I should be breathing around him.
Well, that was his druid circle actually gave him the capability of doing fungal spores. Oh, everything's now covered by Andrea. Look at that, everyone. I found the map. Whoop. There we go. You're getting a lot of live editing today. Oh my gosh, if I can grab the right thing, that'd be great. There we go. Continental, Andrea. We'll just give you a moment of covering our faces to check that out.
Yeah, check this out.
Yeah, right down the middle was the neutral zone. That's where the two nations on the left-hand side, Recloria, which was very segregated. They had no humans there. They actually hated humans. That was part of the thing that was developed into this world for the party to solve, is get rid of that basically straight up despise of a specific being. Don't like it. And they ended up doing that. They brought peace between the two nations, which is cool.
Oh, they actually brought peace instead of just, beating up the Thalmor?
Yeah.
That would have been my solution. It's like, oh hey, look, let's go beat up the racist elves.
Yeah, they actually managed to bring peace. But they had down here in these jungles were the collective, very seclusive people who collected magical things and people. Basically, if it showed any sign of magic, they collected it, because magic is such a rarity. And people. That little story behind that statement, I did not have that as a canonical thing. I never thought about that. But when I was talking to Phil, my OG DM, talking to him about his character he was creating for his guest appearance in the campaign, he asked about, well, what's the collective? So I told him about that, and he said, okay, I'm going to make that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to make a turtle from the collective. And he did. And then when this was the first time the party was really dealing with someone directly from the collective as well. So when they asked him, well, what does the collective do? He said, oh, we're just a group of individuals who collect magical things and people. And then he continued on very quickly with his statement. Was, wait, hang on, did he just add "and people" in there? And then I thought about it, realized he's right. They would. Cool, yeah, I'm not correcting it. It's canonical. They collect people too. So the whole time he was trying to collect most of the group because they were all magical in some way.
Would you like to join my collection? You would be such a nice addition.
I think I have a cage that'll fit a Loxodon.
I have a temporal cube that will fit the whole party.
Getting
but
Trays in the Infinite vibes here.
through carrying on with the characters through the journey of their discovering these trees and removing the corruption from them so that they wouldn't sap the magic in but then start returning it to the land, bringing magic back to Andrea and the Northern Islands. One of the trees required a specific maintenance to it, so Abrael actually fused with the tree, essentially gave birth to a whole new sentient life, which we're now calling the Aberrations. They're now going around the world planting trees of their own or seeding trees of their own in order to further their kind inside each continent of Nathriel.
You have become the fungal tree itself.
Yeah, they became the fungal tree itself. After that, they headed down to a small town in Recloria, where they met the character Relly, which is Tangerine's character, who runs the Wagoner's Way.
The infamous I want to be friends with everyone character.
Yes, I would like to be friends with everyone, and their life was made when, at the end, their wish came true, and they became friends with everyone.
Even Prologue.
It was awful. But yeah, those are the characters. They got called the Consequences in the end because they accidentally furthered a war for a while. They accidentally nearly got an entire town destroyed. They accidentally, well, I say accidentally, one of them skinned the other because they had an unworthy tattoo.
Okay, this I automatically know that this was Prologue doing the skinning.
Yeah. Zorai got a tattoo that he thought was worthy because he managed to bed a dragonborn the day before. Prologue did not deem that worthy, so he skinned the tattoo off of Zorai.
Okay. I think that counts as PvP.
Sure does. But that happened. They accidentally killed a guard, and that was actually when we started calling people how we call them today, which is are they single ply, double ply, triple ply? The guard is single ply, 11 HP or lower, because he cast Moonbeam on the guard and dealt exactly 11 HP, and he died. Then got arrested, which was how we got the 0.5 episode. It was Nathriel breaking himself out of prison and getting out in some way. Yeah, they didn't result in it, but well, they made choices that always, like, every time in this campaign, every time I gave them a choice, there was always a counter choice. Like, if they didn't do this, or if they did this, they wouldn't be able to do this. Or they would find it harder to do this. Or I would attack them during certain points where they just weren't really expecting it. Because there was a lot of espionage and working underneath all the inner workings. Because Marcus was very well supplanted in all the governments. He had fake facades in each one, and he would assume at certain points and certain ways. They met him very early on in one of his facades, but didn't know until it was a little too late. He would send assassins at them to attack at bad times, which is actually how Finestorm ended up dying, is by one of those assassins.
Why people have trouble with wizards.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, if you ever wonder why wizards get persecuted, Marcus, you're the cause.
Yes.
It's like, if there's a witch burning after this, it's Marcus's fault, because how many cans of worms has he unleashed? Like, we're not even that far. We're half an hour in, and he's already unleashed at least like 6 cans of worms that are just eldritch abominations that should have never been unleashed.
Oh yeah.
Shoot this man into the sun.
Let me tell you what he did to Nathriel's now wife. So
wife. Okay.
Now wife, yeah. So Nathriel ended up marrying or having a family with this character later on. Their name was Needle. They were an assassin of the Bond side. The assassins was yes. The assassins took on specific names, like their pack had Needle, Brawler, and their name would just tell you what they did. Needle shot needles. Just threw them all at people. Brawler would just beat the living crap out of people. He was great. He died, I think. I'm pretty sure he died. A lot of NPCs died as well. Like, I may have made 120, and I think about 60 of them died.
Good lord.
It was tragic. But
yeah, we can't say the homewreckers have no chill in comparison. Good lord.
That's also true, yeah. But Needle was male and had no tongue because it was removed. Because they could cast magic and kept casting magic on Marcus, so he got annoyed. So he removed their only way of speaking by removing their tongue.
Lovely.
When they were 6 years old.
Marcus, we are going to feed you into a wood chipper.
He then changed their gender to male. They were born female. He was experimenting with if you could alter genes at certain points of your age. He was testing, this is actually one of the most vile things he's done. He was testing it on several different stages. Firstly, with the mother. He was testing it on the mother, on Eula, which is Needle, and on unfermented egg from the mother.
Wonderful.
He was a very vile and mad mage. There is a reason why the name Marcus brings fury to Ethan's eyes.
Because we're going to kill this character.
Yes, many times over. But he, when they met Eula that way, got Eula changed back to the right gender, and had met Callus, this crazy other experiment and creation of Marcus, who was very, very good with potions and such. Had him help her out with regrowing a tongue and everything, basically fixed all this stuff. Counter-did all the stuff. Oh, he also turned her into a werewolf. I forgot about that bit. And she, in turn, turned Nathriel into a werewolf by accident.
Was that how they got their tongue back?
No. They got their tongue back through... There's actually a spell called Regrowth, where you can regrow limbs and such. Callus just took that spell and put it into a potion.
That works too.
Yeah. But, yeah, that's what he did to Eula, which is Yolandriel's now wife.
Pretty terrible. Yeah, Marcus sounds like he might be a piece of shit.
He kind of is.
How does he die? I need to know this. How does he die?
Tragically. So he
To shreds, you say?
He doesn't actually die. But his facsimile does. So there are these things in Nathriel called keystones. They're these just growing green gemstones that when you touch it, you get granted a wish by being, and that wish comes true. It then tears about 27-mile radius from the ground and makes it a floating island.
Oh, lovely.
Marcus found a keystone, and he wished for all his vile evilness, like his intent of doing harm and vicious stuff, to be removed. The way this being took that wish, he always takes it in a negative way as well, is he just literally separated the two into two separate beings.
He literally toxin ricked himself.
Yep. So the Marcus that started all that process was like, this is the wrong path to go down, and wished it away from him to create this really evil, awful being that continued everything. The thing is, he was still a pretty awful person. He was still doing pretty awful things, manipulating all those other stuff, just not in a physical way like he had been. He's just really good at using his words at that point. And
he was still a dick. He was just he just had better PR.
Yeah, he just had better PR. That's a good way of putting it.
Wonderful.
That version escaped Nathriel and left to only get killed by Ethan's other character with an axe in his head because of other things he did, which were also equally awful.
Be honest, he had it coming.
He had it coming. He absolutely had it coming. He cloned himself too. There are many others of him. There's a whole squad now going around the entire multiverse hunting him down because they all hate his guts so much.
Yeah, the clone spell seems like once you get to a high enough level wizard where you can just have your own little sanctum somewhere off in the distance where, no one else can screw with it and you just have a clone up there. It's like, oh, hey, I died. Well, I better go get my stuff back. You're just over there respawning like it's Rust. It's like, all right, I'm coming for revenge.
That's right, I forgot. When they actually first ran into the real, like the original Marcus by accident. It was
Yeah,
a
you said
random
he was
encounter.
in one of his assumed identities, right?
Sort of. That was one of his clones. So the real actual one was on a floating turtle, undead turtle island, where he had built his own mansion. And it was just going around traveling the seas. And they randomly rolled the encounter to find the turtle, and they went chasing after it. And said, "There's a mansion on there. We want to get on it."
Meanwhile, the big bad evil guy
is sitting inside babbling about his cheese falling off his crackers because he had lost part of his mind. As he was making the trees, creating these things, he was putting pieces of his soul into it to give
Did he
it
try putting
back
glue on his cheese?
That's what they did when they gave him the stones back so that he could get his soul back. They actually helped him become whole again before fully learning who he was. They just knew him to be the missing king of Quaila, because he went.
This is why you don't help crazy strangers that you find on floating islands. They're probably some kind of wizard who has been shattered for a reason.
To be fair,
Leave him to his shenanigans.
They had a good reason. I don't think they would have gotten half as deep as they would have with the fake evil one, the feeble one. There we go, the unknown, as he'd been calling himself. If it hadn't been for the help of Marcus's crew, which was what are they called? There were a few of them. One of them
A sociopath.
Yeah, a bunch of sociopaths. They were great. Mathana, oh. She was killed by the real Marcus in the end. They don't know that. She tried to stop him from leaving Nathriel, and he refused, so he killed her and walked through. It's tragic.
They're gonna find her bones at some point. Like, oh, whoops, this NPC you loved. They've been dead for years now. Sorry.
Dead for years.
They basically got killed off like the side characters between Aliens 2 and 3. It's like, oh hey, you remember all these beloved characters? Nope, they're dead.
No, yeah, I'm just gonna remove them. You never hear from them again, and then there's one loose comment hidden inside the book that if you read it correctly, you realize, oh crap, they're dead.
They didn't even get put on a bus. Bus landed on them.
It's like, where's Steve? I don't know. He probably got on the bus. Let's go.
Steve, meanwhile, you just see a red trail coming from behind the bus. Steve is gone, man. Steve's gone.
What's that sound? Must be the brakes. It's bone on concrete. Oh my goodness.
Oh, that... Actually had a character who had something like that happen, and he ended up going insane because of it.
Oh, what?
Nice childhood trauma for him.
Oh.
Let's be honest, that's a horrible way to go. That should not happen to anybody.
That absolutely would be a horrible way to go. I'd hate
Marcus
to get
deserves it, though.
Yes. Yes, he does. His facsimile died at the end of the campaign when Jartis... They discovered what he was after, what he was going for. And it was one of those keystones in the center, deep underneath the capital of the collective.
What, so one floating turtle island wasn't enough? He needed another one?
He needed another one. But
some people.
He was going for that. That's where we have the infamous spoon that Tangerine will always mention, because as they were traveling to it to try to, I don't know, stop them, I guess, they went into a tiny little tinker shop, and they were like, well, what do we find? And I said, oh, what do you want to find? And Tangerine was like, I find a spoon. I think it was them who said you find... No, it was me. I just rolled a random little item. And it was, I found a spoon, and it's a spoon that will grow big, like a club, in your hand. And it'll be the size of a great club in your hand when you use it. So, you know, my spoon is too big. That kind of meme popped into my head. But they had the bright idea because they saved a Huglopid. of giving this spoon to the Hugglopid. Hugglipids are four-armed creatures, large to begin with, native to Quaila. They have the capability of growing in size and growing basically psychic crystal armor. Also extra limbs as they grow. This one was an ancient one, so he can get to colossal size. Pretty damn big. They befriended him, gave him that spoon, because they were facing another colossal creation of Marcus. Basically just a bunch of dead bodies piled together to create a colossal being.
Oh, a flesh golem.
Flesh golem, yeah. And
Horrifying smell.
I said once you get to big size, give it the command, which is spoon, and it will grow. I said spoon, and I don't think Nathriel will ever see as big of a spoon as that ever again. That thing was probably bigger than the Eiffel Tower.
And it was used to club another colossal being.
Yeah. Pretty epic fight. Pretty epic image. Like an
See-
opalescent city filled with magic beings casting these magic things because they have all the magical items.
You say this, and I'm just picturing two giants at IHOP just having a sword fight with their silverware.
Yeah.
One's using a spoon, the other's using a fork.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, 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 ding. And all this is going on in the middle of like a mage battle.
Oh. Mage battle.
I'm assuming the
desperately trying to-
spoon won.
The spoon did win. The spoon won in the end. There was plenty of hatred and animosity inside that Hugglopid. It had been there was basically a rage serum being created in Recloria that was being handed out to their armies. It's what made them so lethal, is that their berserkers would drink this rage serum and they wouldn't feel pain. They could get an arm lopped off and they would just keep fighting like it was nothing.
Group that stemmed to win is a meta strategy in every universe.
Yes, it is. But they were using his blood to stim to win. So they were
Oh,
taking his
jeez.
blood and diffusing it. So they'd been keeping him alive and harvesting his blood for roughly 500 years.
Ooh.
So he's
Yeah,
pretty angry.
That's a really good way to make sure that when this creature does get out, it's going to be angry. Like, this is why the SCP Foundation needs to take notes. Like, the more you torture these creatures, the more angry they're going to be when they break out.
Uh-huh.
As like, have you ever considered try giving them some coffee and a charcuterie board?
Charcuterie board. Why not just
Or
a
for the-
hamburger? Or like a hot dog?
I mean, if you're like Cell, you really just want a hamburger, but people keep interrupting you.
I forgot about that. Oh.
All right. So, were there any other side characters who popped in for a little bit?
There were.
Other than, actually, I forget his name. The one who was trying to recruit everyone.
Oh.
Played by Paul.
Oh,
Mentioned him.
the collective, yeah, the collective guy. There was Sabine, who has made a recurrence inside Campaign 2. Sabine? It's not Sabine. It's Sabre. Sabine, I'm sorry. Sabine is a character inside my home campaign now. That's happening tomorrow. There's Sabre. Wow. I'm so sorry, Zelda. It's played by Zelda Elves 90 Studios. The Drow captain, who found themselves captain by chance. They had traveled. The Princess of Quaila snuck herself onto a ship, and Sabre had basically found her and said, "Nah, you can come with. We'll be fine. Like, you'll be okay." Tried to keep an eye, didn't really. Just instead took control of the ship when the crew went missing. It'll be fine. She got her own crew and everything. There was also Wisp, who was an air ganassi, also from Quaila, who smuggled themselves over as well. That was played by the Michael Howe Arts. I made so much money off the party. So much.
Somebody's got to make it rich.
Yeah, they made a lot of money off the party.
Edward
Oh.
would be envious, wouldn't he?
He would have, yeah. Yeah, he would have been like, that is one incredible drow. I need to study on her.
Hey, do you need an understudy?
Oh, there's another random point. The Consequences got themselves exiled from Quaila during the path of the campaign because they dropped the contract they picked up and said, we're not going to look for your daughter anymore. We're going to do something different.
Oh, yeah, that's probably not the best thing to say to, the guy in charge of the country or some noble
yeah,
who's got
the king.
power. That's...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, don't tell that to the king. Holy shit,
He
that
immediately
bad
sent
idea,
his armada.
folks.
They were like,
His
yeah, you just did
armada.
this.
That's why they sent the armada.
That's
Because
why they sent the armada. It's like, well, the
Oh,
mercenaries
for
failed.
God's sakes,
They're not going to
people.
do anything, so I guess we got to send the armada now. We tried one way. Now it's time to try another. So it's like,
So did you use a bunch of little ships to counter them?
no. I told them, like, you got like 6 months before the Quailans get here. Like, there's a time frame now.
I cast mass teleport.
Yeah. Teleportation did not exist. Magic that was still being
Oh.
discovered.
Ooh.
So we were kind of
That's
still
kinda
in that era where like the higher powered magics were still being really discovered because of climatic events that happened earlier, but technology was finding itself more advanced in ways. The first battleship of Nathriel was created during this campaign. Of sorts. Single cannon. Very big.
Oh, so you basically just made one of those mortar ships.
Mm-hmm.
It just has a giant Spakov bombard at the front, and it's just like, hey, see that ship in that general direction? I would like it to be tsunami'd.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, you're probably not going to hit it, but the splash is going to be so big, you're going to sink anything that's not you.
They thought about that. They were like, well, how do we fight this thing? I don't know. You know it's got a 27-mile radius of firing. If you're 27 miles away, it can hit you.
27-mile radius. Good look. Okay, yeah, that's a proper... You're getting to a proper battleship at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kind of imagining Big Bertha sitting on an aircraft carrier at this point.
That's kind of what I thought of. It's like, just take Big Bertha, put it on an airship carrier. It's bigger than it needs to be because the technology's still new. Like, they still can't shrink the size of it. They never went to the forging fields. They would have found a mountain literally hollowed out to have iron capable of being poured in to mold the cannon.
They've got to have 2 ships the same size following it around, just filled with ammo nonstop. Because the ammo for this thing's got to be
huge.
For those of you at home who haven't looked into like the old railway guns, they were so ludicrously impractical. Like, I think they took an hour or so to load, just because you have to crane these things into position. They're like several 100-ton shells, and doing that at sea's got to be terrifying because you're already moving this giant, 300-ton shell. Now you have to do it on the waves.
Oh, unstable.
I imagine, depending on what the technology is, it's probably like 40k chain gangs where people are just like pulling these shells into position instead of everything being steam powered. It's like, put your backs into it.
They didn't have magic. Like, Andrea didn't have magic at this time. So instead of furthering in arcane means, they were furthering in technological means. So when the Andrean, or the Quailans, who were very high in magic, sailed over to find their missing princess, discovered a land of no magic, there were these things that these people were carrying around that had these long, hollow metal tubes, pieces of wood fashioned at the bottom, a strange, curved metal piece near what looks to be a triangular end. And when you see them, that triangular end is held up against their shoulder. They've got their finger over that curved metal piece and they're holding up this long, hollow barrel and pointing it at you. Like it's dangerous. It's a gun. It's a rifle.
I feel,
But they don't know what that is.
as you describe it, I feel exactly what the Aztec guy felt, just staring at this bastard in the shiny metal armor going, hey, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, gunpowder. Yeah, this is when you realize that civilization is not that unrealistic, and you can, in fact, have riflemen going up against,
Yeah.
the guy with a club. And it sucks to be the guy with a club at that point, because hey, your club may have +2 damage, but That rifle can hit you from 800 meters away.
Way far away. Way far
That's-
away.
That's one of the things I always find kind of funny in video games. They never get like rifle ranges right. Star Wars Galaxies, for example, 64 meters was rifle range. 64 meters. I'm like, rifles go out
So much
10
farther
times
than
that. The game couldn't even render that far, so I understand, but I think it was more of a balance thing because do you really want to try? Let's be honest, it's not fun trying to shoot the guy who is literally hiding in a hole with a blanket over him with just a little rifle shooting out 800 meters away, shooting at the party. That's
I've
never
done
going to be
that
fun
to
for
them
the
in
player.
campaign 2 twice now.
Sucks to be them.
Sucks to be them. Yeah, there
All I
were
can say-
submarines too. I forgot about
All I
that.
can say is this is when you start using artillery to flush out snipers.
Those exist. They haven't
They
come
exist.
into the Balashtar military yet, but the Balashtar military actually has started using artillery. They have artillery cannons on the northern borders to
I
ward
love
off the
it.
Nork Empire. But that's campaign 2 stuff.
This was, in fact, a thing that happened. Simo Haya, the Finnish sniper, the Russians tried to use artillery on him because they're like, we
Yeah.
can't stop this guy.
Yeah.
Just bomb everything in that general direction. They use the Helldiver technique.
Yes. When you shoot a guy in the face, he gets assumed dead, gets pulled out of a pile of corpses, and then heals back to life and then goes back into the forest to hunt you. That's when you run.
Yeah.
Like that sniper, if anyone doesn't know about that sniper, go look him up. Woof. I think he still has credited some of the highest count of sniper kills
And
to
the
date.
other thing to remember is not only is his number ridiculously high, like even compared to everyone else on that list, everyone else on that list was in like a 4, 6 to 8-year war or some kind of long extended campaign. He was in the Winter War. That lasted months.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
He pulled that off quick and easy.
there's a
Oh.
reason why everyone in Europe is just slightly afraid of the Finns.
Uh-huh. We have a reason.
It's like, if the snow starts screaming, "Particle! Be concerned!" All right, let's see. I do have to ask about one side character because I know this one exists. What about Keket?
Keket.
That's from this one, isn't it?
Keket.
Kekit?
There were so many. I have so many characters in my head. You'll have to remind me who they are.
It was one of Zelda's characters. It was the cat. I don't know if it was a tabaxi, but I know it was some kind of cat.
Is that in this campaign?
I thought it was.
Kekit?
I swear that was a Sunday thing, was it not?
It might have been one of our one-shots that we did.
Because I know that was doing something. I know that was something you were doing with the god parts. Because I thought they were
Oh,
on.
Kekit was yes.
Yeah,
I'm
because they were on screen
remembering
with
now.
Finestorm.
That was a Nightbane campaign. Where
Oh,
something
okay.
that was separate. Yeah,
Nightbane. Okay,
very-
that had a lot of the same players.
it did. Yeah, it had Von, myself, and
Mhm.
Zelda, and Stitch was GMing that one.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, never mind, people. I'm
That-
confusing their campaigns.
Nightbane campaign. It's coming back. We're gonna do it again.
Yeah, that's enough. We'll have to do an entire recap just on Nightbane when it comes back, so we can catch people up.
He's actually gonna. It's basically like a reboot, because it's gonna
Okay.
be most of the Sunday table actually.
Ooh.
Yeah, that'll be a hoot.
Yeah, I was confusing that with the other godhood shenanigans that were going on in
Yes,
your campaign later on.
the Godhead shenanigans, which ended up getting resolved, because Yolondriel. So Ethan, when he created Yolondriel, he basically gave me what I call GM's candy. He gave me such an open backstory; I could do whatever I wanted to him, and he couldn't.
Pretty plot hooks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he said, "This is what I want. Have fun," and I did.
See, I did this in Mystery of Bloodheim, and then everyone had amnesia.
It's like, oh, come on.
I didn't give the Lore Keeper candy. I just gave him straight up drugs. Like, here you go, give it to everyone. Now everyone has it.
Thanks, Donnie.
I just wanted to play a barbarian in a setting that wasn't necessarily barbarian friendly.
I
It
like
worked.
Donnie. He was a fun character. I enjoyed him.
Donnie's a hoot.
He was a hoot, definitely. Got to get those
Donnie would
spicy
be-
spaghetti wires.
Donnie would be fun to do, to show up in a one shot like 50 years later, where he's just settled down on the planet, had like
Yes.
way
Could we
too
play his
many
kids?
children.
Could we play his kids?
Oh, that'd be hysterical.
Just
Is
all
Donnie's-
running around as his children. That would be
Because look,
great.
Donnie's gonna have like 50 kids, and there's gonna be like probably 500 grandkids or so. So you play whatever the hell you want.
I wanna.
The
Oh,
only thing is Donnie's gonna have to. Donnie's probably gonna have to call in help from Pancake Mommy to help with all of the cross stitching for all of these children.
Bethel could help you. She's pretty good at that.
Yeah. Plus, I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna want to get off the flying city once you realize that, oh hey, this place is supposed to just shoot down evil space dragons.
We're living on a weapon? Ew.
Wait a minute, the food down there tastes better?
Yum. There are different versions of. You mean that's a glorp sphere? That's a glorp sphere? That's a glorp
Feathered
sphere?
glorp spheres!
Feathered glorp spheres?
By the way,
Uh.
remember folks, if you go buy t-shirts from Chronicles of Nathriel and Iridai, we'll do the, what was it, the history, or no, the birds and the bees of the glorp spheres? No, the glorp
Yes.
spheres and the glorp spheres.
Yes.
Glorp
Buy-
spheres and glorp spheres.
Buy those T-shirts. Once we sell enough of them, I'm legitimately going to sit down and write the glorp spheres and the glorp spheres, and then work with Michael Howards on getting the art for it done. And we genuinely, 100% might throw that into a Kickstarter and publish that book. So
Just
go
throw
get those
glorp
T-shirts.
spheres into whatever setting you want. It's like, hey, do you just need some weird, loud frog creatures that smell bad and kind of smell a little bit like urine when you put them into a can?
You touch them and they immediately start mutating on themselves, and their skin just dripping after seconds.
You just try to hold it and it's just a puddle's appearing on the floor.
It's like that fruit when you crack it open. It looks good on the outside, but you crack it open, it just smells like ass.
Somewhere somebody in the catwalks has a job called glorp sphere holder.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Oh boy.
all right, okay.
That
So
was
the
a wonderful show.
Armada. They sent an Armada after the consequences.
Yeah. Yeah, they sent an armada after the consequences, who at that point were working with Marcus's children, his genetic experiments and creations.
I feel like his children are more horrifying than Loki's children.
Yeah. Inside his mansion, which was alive and deeply disturbed to Tangerine. The fact that it was alive.
Magnificent.
There were these butlers who had no face but could speak still, and they all looked identical, they all looked the same, and they were all of the house, because the house created them of themselves.
And when do we find this in your SCP campaign?
Coming up this Halloween, an SCP campaign with the house. Actually, ooh,
The house always wins.
the house always wins. I've already done a house, actually. The hotel. God, I love
Yeah.
that hotel. I've wanted to do a campaign using that hotel for such a long time.
I'm so glad Mal didn't get stuck in there forever.
Me too. I kind of hoped he did, though. Evilly. That was the director.
I mean, I'll be honest, I was completely willing to team kill the entire party for Mal to avoid that. I kind of thought that's what it was going to come to.
Yeah. Is it also called a cock holder? The globe sphere holder?
Look, okay, some people do call the glorp sphere that. However, we also like to throw those people off of home.
Yeah, they make us a bit testy.
It's like, you know what? That's a big no-no around these parts.
Around.
It was a very spooky hotel, Michael. Like, screw everything in there, especially that weird, creepy lady in the room that we ended up having to just shoot the crap out of, and basically killed one of our party members.
The cook. The poor cook. He just wanted someone to say they liked his meal.
All because he wouldn't order anything.
You sit down at the table, you order my food.
Like, I'm not gonna eat the food, but order it. I think I can.
I think I can manage that.
I don't trust any of the food in these places.
Armada came. Thankfully, the Prime Minister of Recloria had a nice little mindset of welcoming them in and kind of had a heads up of, hey, this foreign nation's about to arrive with an armada of ships using technology of sailing that we don't have yet because we haven't bothered sailing into open sea. We've only done shallow sailing, so our ships aren't that advanced.
Did they invite them into their harbor?
Invited them
pull
into
up the chain behind them?
Yeah. Brought them into the harbor, said, hey, hi, how you doing? Brought up negotiations. He then stepped down as Prime Minister because a lot of his things could be condemned as war crimes by the Quailans. So he said, open negotiations, I'm stepping down. I will not be the Prime Minister anymore.
Wait, war crimes.
else?
What was he doing? Like, was he putting Punjabi traps out here where people were getting impaled on spikes or something?
No, he was refusing injured. So if you were disfigured or in any way, he would exile you and say best of luck in Lebon or the neutral zone. There was a city called Nutra, where if you go there, it was just filled with these people and filled with the people who couldn't deal with the Lebon rule.
So there was literally no healthcare there. Wonderful.
None at all.
I just assumed that, they were on the back foot or something, and now they were just doing, really, really bad things to keep the soldiers away. No, they're just dicks to everyone.
Doing really, really bad things. Really, really bad things. Most of that was instigated, actually, when Marcus became Prime Minister for a while, under one of his guises. He then stepped down after he laid the groundwork for what he needed, because he was like, I don't need to be in the front of everything. I can rule in the shadows.
And that is the most terrifying kind of emperor.
Mm-hmm. He had Lebon, which is the human nation, was formed around one of the missing trio brothers, who... A little history on that, actually, side trail on there. Marcus ended up finding his way over to Andrea during the Unification War in Quaila, which unified all their nations, by experimenting with teleportation magic. He failed, or so he thought. He also brought along with him the 3 ruling leaders of the Huglepids, up to the north, who were waging the war against the Quailans, all the other nations in Quaila. He brought all of them with him, killed one of them, sent another one back, and left the other to become king of all the humans and manipulate their rule. He then manipulated Recloia's rule and kept them fighting so that people would die and he could have more souls for his fuel.
I'm getting some Nagash vibes here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just gonna let everyone die and I'm gonna rule over what's ever left.
Yep. Basically. And whatever was left was going to be dead bodies, and he had ways of reanimating those and creating different things. Of course, he ended up separating these ambitions from himself when he realized they were getting out of hand, creating the pseudo-Marcus, while creating other clones of himself to take care of himself, with some of them, most of them, all of them, getting the same ambitions he used to have. And doing the same stuff he used to do.
This is why your big bad evil guys have to watch Dragon Ball. Splitting off your evil self from yourself. It never helps. I mean, worst case scenario, either you become pure good and then the bad guy over here just becomes the literal demon king who tries to conquer the world, or you become just a sociopathic dick who never feels anything that you're doing, like Marcus here, it seems like.
100%,
and then the other version of you is just Toxic Rick, who is literal narcissistic poison to everyone around you.
On the nose, good sir. On the nose.
Yeah, stop splitting your evil side off from yourself, people.
What made it
Doesn't
worse
help.
is he was a magus. And a magus is something that is born naturally to magic. It's another race that
Yeah,
was...
I think I saw them in Pathfinder. I'm not familiar with them in 5e.
Oh, no, this is homebrewed stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I had
this
no
is
idea what these things are then.
straight up homebrewed. I thought it might be interesting to have a race that could still cast magic and still use spells, even while playing, like, martial classes.
Oh.
So I put a cost to it. Like, you can learn so many spells. You choose a specific school of magic when you're born, and you have a marking that shows you're a magus. You have certain eye color and eyes shapes that show you're a magus, but you can only choose spells within that school of magic. You can then cast those spells basically at will without using a lot of the components. Key point is you can't do healing spells unless you're a cursed magus who has the blood curse, which is what Praspidus was, all white eyes with a thin iris and all white hair, which is also what the princess is. But they're the only magus that can cast healing spells or any kind of healing stuff. Because basically when you cast a spell as a magus, you're using your hit points as the spell slots.
Ooh.
So it's sacrificing your own hit points to get some magic out there. You're using your own life force as your fuel. They are born to magic and born of it.
So blood magic and magic is just the same for them then.
Basically, yeah.
That's got to probably... I'm guessing they probably don't have good relations with their neighbors in that case.
They live on an island, floating
Probably helps.
in the sky.
Probably helps.
They also rule over the entirety of Quayla now, though. They won the unification war.
So everyone looks at them like the Aztecs got looked at. It's like, we hate your guts because you're up there in your flying island and you think you're better than all of us. Screw you, man.
There's one of the nations that very directly will say to the king, "Now, you know I hate your guts because you're up there on that island and you think you're better than all of us. Yar. But I hate you for it. Still." The king of the Lavening Kingdom. He has no problem saying that to the king of Quayla.
It's literally, I'm in a tank and you're not.
Yep.
I'm on a flying island and you're not. Be gone, peasant.
Yeah, so he was a magus, which made it worse, so he was more apt with his magic, more capable with it. There were several occasions I nearly just one-shot some of the characters with some of his creations and what he did.
So what I'm gathering is the consequences did not power game enough at the beginning.
They power gamed the crap out of their characters.
Oh, and they still had to deal with
They still
this.
had difficulties. Oh, someone's compensating for something. Can you hear the engine? But they face some pretty evil and pretty powerful things because of the nature of what Marcus was. It couldn't be easy. Like they had to dream demons or a soul demon that would eat your soul. Even if they tried to revive Praspidus, they wouldn't have been able to because there was no soul to come back to the body.
Oh, lovely.
It had been devoured.
That's when you just start burning the souls out of evil creatures.
Or trying to.
Actually, I have a character who literally does that. Soul combustion. Very potent shit.
Rupert, he's my old wizard. He's kind of plays around with necromancy. Oh, you won't call it necromancy. He just calls it puppeteering.
For comparison, and whatever cosmology you have, hell runs off of souls, so...
There's some fun stuff with that. At this point, they know Nathriel has no connection to other planes. The planar magic doesn't work. You could come up with the correct planar travel spell, and it wouldn't work. You would feel the spell slot get expended, but it wouldn't work. So they knew
isolated.
There was the capability, but Nathriel was isolated for some reason. And they started discovering isolated occasions where essentially rips in fabric of existence started opening up, and beings from other planes could make their way through. The trick to these things is you didn't know what time or what plane you were going to. So you could go through it, and it could be years in the past or years in the future. And you don't know where you just got sent to. And if you turned around and tried to go back through, it didn't always lead back to Nathriel.
The joys of magic, people. Just because you can translocate yourself across the universe doesn't mean you can translocate yourself back successfully.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is why in a lot of video games you need to save scum before entering a portal.
Yes, that is true.
Hey, how's come like half of our wizards from this generation have just like disappeared randomly? I have no idea, but I'm sure it has nothing to do with them astral projecting themselves into the astral realms. Totally has nothing to do with it.
Headmaster, you haven't been breathing for 30 minutes. I do hope that's on purpose.
Oh, why is he blue? He's not
what's
a
that
water
smell?
genasi shit.
He has no pulse.
Men shit themselves when they die.
Oh dear.
Genasi do too.
All right, everyone look at his journals, figure out what spell he was working on.
I can't speak with dead.
I did it to myself.
Get myself. Oh, don't tell my mother.
My will is under the third plank to the right. Find it. Distribute.
You have no further
I leave
questions.
everything to the cat.
A cat? I'm alive now. That was a spell. Hi.
That cat just talk.
No.
Detect thoughts.
Oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap.
All right.
Oh.
So, there was an armada sent after the consequences after they refused to rescue the daughter of a king. I'm presuming because the party decided that, hey, you know that king we signed a contract with to get his daughter back? Yeah, that's not important. You know what's really important? This matter of honor down here that we need to settle.
There was a second degree to it in the fact that as soon as the unknown discovered what they were looking for, because he had her, he actually sent out one of his changelings to mimic her.
Oh, wonderful.
So he had fooled them into believing she was fine when she wasn't.
Ah.
One of the cues that should have said, maybe we should be questioning this and not trusting it just yet, is the fact that she was adamant on them not telling her father that she had been found, without giving them any real reason why. Just saying, don't.
You see, I would have had to have a character who is just two genres over here and just go, hey, I'm sorry, are you like part of a rebel group against your father? Are you trying to overthrow him and, put your boyfriend on the throne or something? Come on, I know you're the princess here, but come on, I need to know your angle. And if she can't give me an angle, I'm going to go, okay, I am highly suspicious because at least I could buy whatever that was. Whatever this is some kind of like next level shenanigans. So you're going to get interrogated now.
It cost them pretty dearly in the end when they didn't bother to interrogate her, because the unknown sent his assassins, Jack and a few of his other people, named NPCs, to infiltrate the mansion where his changeling had infiltrated previously as the princess, coming and saying, my uncle, that's my uncle right there, let me help my uncle. And some of the ways they helped with this is they used a spell called Magic Jar, where they removed her soul from her body, put it in a jar, and then put someone else inside her body, so they could use her legitimate body for their own will. So she was able to infiltrate, fooling them by being genuinely the princess.
Detect thoughts, people. Detect thoughts.
They weren't a very magic-heavy party.
The cleric, I think, had the heaviest amount of magic.
This is why I'm playing a utility wizard, just so I can bring every possible, like, hey, do you need, like, this one specific spell for this one specific thing that no one else is ever going to bother to bring because it's no sense? Wizards!
Wizards! You need some ritual spells? Great, I've got them all.
Just feed your wizard some gold and some scrolls, and you'll be fine.
Fine.
Just send them out into the world and, you know, give them as many spells as you can.
Meanwhile, just feed Edward and you'll be fine. He'll heal you. You just got to make sure you feed him. He eats a lot.
So does Veil Pip, because you can't keep his muscle mass without, you know.
Without having to eat a lot, yeah.
No, that's why he's so poor, is because most of his money goes to eating himself.
I just got paid 7
Chicken and rice, chicken and rice, chicken and rice.
Oh. Well, they worked with Marcus for a while after that. They solved a bunch of the trees. They killed the king of Laban, put another person on the throne. They found basically the king of Laban, who was a Huglopid, who no longer used his great size, but instead focused his energies through other means.
And Huglopids, you said, are like giants with 4 arms and a bunch of other
Yeah.
weird shit about them, right?
Yeah, giants with 4 arms, bunch of other stuff. They could make themselves bigger, grow psychic armor. If you're a 3-5 player, you would recognize that as one of the psionics classes, psionic armorist, and that is a using the 3-5 rules home created race. That was created in one of the campaigns. So when I described the Huglopid to Phil, my OG DM, he smiled and said, "I remember those, because he was the GM that killed him. Made him blow up through positive healing. Too much of it."
Oh, yeah. That one.
That one, yeah.
You critically healed.
I critically
Plus 50
healed.
death. Plus 50 health.
It was like plus 368, and I had a total of 119 or something like that. So it more than tripled my HP. And in 3-5, there are rules for that. You explode. And I was in colossal size with 4 arms. I exploded and sent huge chunks of meat everywhere. And
Has
nearly
anyone
killed-
ever seen that
bunch of
video
them.
of the whale being exploded
Yes.
with TNT in Oregon?
Imagine that.
I do not want to be downrange from that, people. That is
That's fucked up.
Look, I think I would rather be at Pompeii.
Yeah.
But at least you know that's going to kill you. The whale blubber hitting you might just maim you. Have you been hit by a 300-pound pile of whale blubber? Please call State Farm.
Oh my gosh. State Farm, everyone. Call State Farm. 709-639-6265. I think that's the number.
Sounded right.
Heck yeah. I got it right. I have memorized the number. Yay.
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah, they did that. They beheaded the king. They created the sport of bowling at the same time. They gilded.
Was it using the king's head?
It was using the king's head. They gilded the king's head, and they left the mouth and the nostrils for the finger holdings, and they used his head
Of course.
for bowling.
Why am I picturing his skull just has like his his 2 big front teeth and
It's
lower
like-
front teeth removed so that he can just do the bowling grip?
Yeah, yeah. It was very wild and random, but I loved it, and I was like, yeah, let's keep it. And that's a joke that's
Was it
continued
gold
on.
plated? Because you gotta if
Yes.
you're gonna have a skull bowl.
Yeah,
There
the
you
gold
go.
plated. It was definitely. He even
If you're going to have the skull of your enemy, you need to gold plate
Plate
it.
it.
Come on.
Yeah, when Brolog or Peter, the player of Brolog, said, "Hey, how much do you think it would take to cover this head in gold?" It's like, probably about 10 gold's worth. It's like,
Yeah, it's just gold leaf.
it's just gold leaf. Yeah, you're just thin plate, right? I mean, okay, cool.
Ridiculous how
I'm
thin
gonna
that
find-
stuff is.
I'm gonna find a blacksmith, and I'm gonna have him cover this head in gold. Okay.
You know what? I need
Right.
to remember this in the future. Just like this is nothing Veil Pip would ever do, but I could see my character Bestmark definitely getting us somebody's skull in gold because
plated. Yeah.
like you were a dick to me in life, you little ass. Now I'm going to drink from your skull. Ah, it tastes like gold.
Yum, 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 yum. Metallic. But they did that, put the right king in place with the old prime minister out. Lebon and Recloyer at that point were at prime conditioning to negotiate. They then went to Nutra, where the Unknown attacked again, destroyed the city of Nutra, completely demolished it. They also hijacked the destroyer that Lebon had created, and were bombarding Nutra, the Reclorian, Lebon, and at this point Quaylin army as well, from 27 miles away with that ship.
Oh, so they wanted smoke with everyone.
They wanted smoke with everyone. They just like,
Wonderful.
we don't care. We want to rule the world. That was the goal of the other markets, was to rule the world.
I mean, we have a cannon that can shoot you from 26 miles away, so we feel confident about our chances here.
Pretty confident, yeah. But the consequences ran into the issue of the princess being stolen from the mansion. It was really the changeling. So when they went charging in, they fell right into the trap. Brolog ran forward, nearly got one-shot killed by the fake princess, as an invisible barrier was put up between him and the rest of the party. So I went ham on Brolog, a barbarian, and nearly killed him.
Oof.
It
Yeah,
was,
I'm guessing Brolog did not have Donnie's ridiculous survivability.
he had ridiculous survivability because of his subclass. He could just keep going. Basically, he would roll. If it was higher than 10, he would keep going. He'd roll Constitution.
Oh, so
than
he was
15,
ignoring
he'd
his
keep
death
going.
saves?
He was ignoring his death saves. He was
Okay.
ignoring going down. He just kept.
So he was like,
staying
he
up.
was doing the half-orc barbarian
Yeah.
route, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically.
Instead of just having like stupid AC and a bunch of damage resistance, it's just like, you can't kill me.
You just can't kill me. You just can't kill me. I nearly had him. He was on death saving throws when they finally got rid of the barrier, and instead of fighting against Yolondriel and the rest, Jack and the princess, or the fake princess, basically said, we're bugging out. Bye. And they
The
bugged
bad
out.
guy's name is Jack. I'm having Fable flashbacks to that asshole in the mask.
Maybe a little bit of the inspiration. But Jack,
Get back here, you bastard.
Get
I'm
back
still
here.
not done with you.
I want to kill you again. Ugh. He was.
I'm going to have to go play Fable again just to kill Jack.
Just yeah. He is a very good assassin. I enjoyed that character. One of those angry people who was forced to be in his position. He was a bad clone, a bad facsimile that was created by the Unknown. Essentially, the Unknown couldn't get any of it right. What he created required things
Question.
to be kept alive.
Unknown's relation to Marcus.
Marcus's bad half that was separated from the Wish.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yep.
Like, I knew they were related somehow. I just wanted to make sure. Okay. He's literally evil guy who got shoved out of him.
Mm.
He's King Piccolo.
He's King Piccolo. Yes, he is King Piccolo.
He's King Piccolo to, I can't say Kami because he's more like Rick Sanchez.
It's true. That's a good comparison.
He's still not a good guy.
Uh-huh.
He's still Marcus.
Uh-huh.
And even good Marcus deserves the wood chipper at this point.
Yes. A little more fast. I mean, you could put the wood chipper on fast speed for,
We'll put him ahead
for
first.
original
at least.
Marcus. Yeah. Put it on.
It's like, well, at
very
least make it
slow.
somewhat merciful. But, you know, bad Marcus, no, he goes into the black hole wood chipper. The one that spaghettifies you out and goes, meow, for, you know, half an eon. It's like, it looks like it's instant from the people outside, but for you, it was 100 million years. Feel sorry for that poor guy, because, do you want to be the spaghetti noodle as it's being fed into the garbage disposal? No, you do not want to be the spaghetti noodle.
No, you definitely don't. You definitely don't. That would be terrifying. Let's see. After the events of Nutra actually had some pivotal moments for the entire world itself. The old king, King Shago, who was the youngest brother of the three kings. There was King Gaius Val, King Marcus, and King Shago, all triplets of Magus born, all ruling at the same time. King Gaius Val was a fighter Magus cursed, so he had the healing capabilities. He was a natural born leader, died during the War of Unification. We actually have a mini-series one-shot covering that war now.
Oh, that was the one where Vaughn kept rolling like a bunch of natural 20s in a row,
Ridiculously
right?
good. Yeah, it was so good. A whole huge combat scene and everything was going so beautifully. And I still managed to kill the ones I needed to kill. Canonically, they had to die. And I told them, these are your list of characters you can choose from. I have put canonic next to some names saying they will die. So if you choose this character, acknowledge that fact.
And you just have to decide, how do you go out? Do you go out like it's a Bollywood film and have a dance before, or do you go out like it's a South Korean drama where you're just going to, slow-mo fall for the next 5 minutes? Or is it in America where it's just a shot to the head and boom, scroll.
Dead. Oh gosh, what was that film? Red October or something like that? Not The Hunt for the Red October. There was another one with the name Red in it. They made a remake of it recently.
Not the one with Sean Connery, though.
Not the one with Sean Connery, yeah. This was
Okay.
much newer. But there was a scene, it follows two brothers, and they're going through, like, fighting Korea, because Korea managed to invade America and took over. And they're doing rebellion stuff against them. Not Homefront, it's a different... Red Dawn, that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The new Red Dawn movies. Okay, yeah.
It might have been Red Dawn, maybe, but it
Yeah,
wasn't
because
Russia,
they changed
was
it from
Korea.
Russia. Yeah, they changed it from Russia to Korea from the old one to the new one, I think.
Yeah, that's the one. But in that, spoilers.
That's why it got compared to Homefront all the time.
Mm-hmm. But spoilers for people. The older brother, there's a scene where, like, he's slowly falling in love with one of the characters in there, and he has this heart-to-heart moment with his younger brother, and it's genuinely heartfelt. I was like, oh, this is so good. Like, we're coming to a close of the film. And the younger brother says, she's there, she's waiting for you. So he gets up, smiling, walking from one room through a hall to the room that she's in, and it takes the perspective of her as he's walking towards her, and then he gets shot in the head and he's dead.
And 500-kilogram bomb.
Boom. I was like, oh boy. It was so heartfelt, and they had such heartfelt music going that the shot and the kill was just instantaneous and gut-wrenching. Very well
Gotta
done.
love it.
Good cinematography there.
I know the original one definitely gave you that idea of, oh, hey, you have lost, and you are now stuck in the middle of the American West with basically gun copters in the air that will gun you and any other civilians down that they find because, Soviets. The remake definitely gave you the idea that, oh, hey, we're gonna, kick the North Koreans' ass and, send them all the way back. We're gonna send them all the way back to the whatever that river between Korea and China is that they originally got pushed back to in the Korean War before the Chinese invaded, and then it's just a slog from then on out.
Yeah.
But the original one didn't give you that intention. You felt like, oh yeah, you guys are screwed. You're a bunch of high schoolers fighting a guerrilla war, especially when they have that fight with the helicopter.
Yeah. Gosh.
Oof.
Oof. Oof.
This is why air power is terrifying.
Yes, go Ukraine. Good job. Gosh. But the good old
Isn't Taiwan getting invaded right now?
It
Need
might
to check
be, I
on
don't
that.
know. Real life events. We shouldn't be talking about those.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should be
Send them
avoiding
your
that.
hopes and prayers, people.
Hopes and prayers. Bringing it back. So Shago did a thing in order to stop, because the fake Marcus had stolen all those those crystals that they'd been gathering, the hearts of the trees, and he was using them. He brought a huge battle, huge fight, killed a bunch of people in that fight by destroying Nutra, absorbed all their souls, and was trying to form his own rip in the reality of Nathriel to get to other planes and to create a permanent sample of some sort.
He's pulling a father from Full Metal Alchemist.
He's pulling a father from Full Metal Alchemist, yep. He tried to do that. Shago went in and actually used his magic to break and destroy those facilities. He destroyed all the hearts of the trees. That resulted in a necrotic wave around the entire world, which then led to basically every birth for the next 8 or so months, resulting in tieflings.
Oh, I bet you that had a lot of explaining to do.
A lot of
Honey,
people
why
were
does their son
confused.
have horns?
A lot of people were confused. Because that was worldwide, and at this point...
A lot of confusion. Probably a lot of cultures did not take that very well.
Ooh, yeah, definitely not. Quite a few of them were very negative outcomes. It was very negative, especially in Quayla for the longest time, because Quayla was a very devout towards Eshnor during that time frame, and anything that was unusual like tieflings was bad. It was very, very bad. So they were typically left in forests or killed on sight when they came out. So a bunch of tieflings getting born from there, and then the king having to explain, we can't kill these because it's going to be everything, was pretty drastic. He also had a bad effect where he was losing his life slowly. So like Gandalf, not Gandalf.
The guy who was getting whispered by Worm Tongue.
That one, him, yes.
Minas Tirith, the king of Minas Tirith.
King of Minas Tirith. I was also thinking HP, the headmaster. What happened to him when he tried to kill the Hukuks? I won't say specific terminology for HP because owner being mean, but he had that thing that was sapping away his life and killing him slowly. So in the end, when Snoop killed him, it was more of a grace. That kind of stuff.
I'm not familiar with that. I'm not familiar with that one setting, unfortunately.
It's
I
okay.
don't do too much with HP.
Mm.
But I am familiar with the one from Lord of the Rings, though.
Yeah, that's a good comparison there. But he was slowly losing his life after doing that. So at the end of the campaign, when he sacrificed himself to save a lot of the people, basically threw his entire life force into it and said, "This is my last hurrah." It was ultimately seen as fine because his daughter took the throne after him, and he died at the end of the War of Andrea. So what other progress? I think
Some progress.
the last, well, there's a couple of other major things, like the Shallows Estates. They got very involved with the pirating association inside Andrea and ended up discovering they weren't really being pirates. They're just a giant mercenary group. Saved them from their stone in their home being turned into a giant time bomb by Marcus.
To be fair, the difference between mercenary group and bandit / pirate really thin in some places.
It's a really thin line, yeah.
It's like it's very easy to make the transition to, hey, we are just trying to make money, to, hey, you better pay us all of your money for protection or something's going to happen to your legs.
Pretty much. Yeah, they had the gentleman's agreement of piracy. Basically, they would go onto the shore and they would actually occasionally do just work for the
We're
communities
privateers,
for free.
laddies.
Privateers. We get hired to rob ships and do fun stuff like pirates, but it's legal.
It's legal as long as you're at war, because the minute that war is done, you got to stop doing the privateering stuff. At least you're supposed to, but look, you can always just go up to the governor of Virginia and get yourself a pardon. It's really not that hard. He's pretty easy to bribe. How many times did that happen in history?
Oh gosh, I don't know. They led to the creation, or they helped to the creation of flying ships in Nathriel, which we now see in a good chunk of societies there, which helped further the disconnection of the continents, because there was an event called the Shattering, where the Pangaea of Nathriel was shattered into multiple continents. After that, the continents never really talked to each other. So the Quaylands sailing over to Andrea was the first time there was a major interaction between them. So the flying ships helped tie
Same
them
thing you
all.
had in our world, where the two continents, or the two major continent chunks, just basically had nothing to do with each other other than one or two rare events.
Yeah.
Which, I'm guessing in Nathriel it probably went a lot smoother since you were starting to have magic and technology to probably alleviate some of those issues.
Yes. Yeah. They're like, hey, hi, we're new. We have some cool stuff. You want to see?
Yeah, it's called antibiotics. Try this. Called healing magic. We have this really cool stuff.
Yeah, that definitely helped. The Quaylands also helped a lot with unifying the factions and helping them create like a centralized government where they can all communicate together and work together. Because Quayla had achieved that themselves. I'm putting that in quotes because they really haven't.
It was feudalism with extra steps.
Yeah, feudalism with extra steps, basically.
The king may have just because the king has level 4 crown authority doesn't mean he's anything more than a king.
Denethor.
He's still not the Sun King of France, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even then, the Sun King of France is still just the Sun King. He's not an emperor.
Emperor of the Sun. Good film.
Not familiar with that one actually.
Check it out. It's a little bit of a slow. It's basically American war camps in Japan during World War II.
Ah,
It follows the life of a child who just wanted to be a pilot.
oh, fun.
It's a good film. I enjoyed it. I think the last major thing I know to point out would be the Return of the Gods, which was Nathriel's whole purpose. He gathering the armor of the gods, or the armor of Eshnar, as he called it at that time, getting all the pieces together because he knew it was a sentient suit of armor, or a sentient set of armor. The more he put it together, the more its mind was centered that it could tell him the truth of what Eshnar was. And it told him Eshnar's an intruder god. These are the beings that you're encountering of high power. They really are the true gods of Nathriel, and you can return them.
You're literally worshipping the Sumerian version of, or the equivalent of the Sumerian Tiamat, the god
Yeah.
of chaos who just decides to come in and wreck everything they can until another god decides, no, you.
No, you, yeah. And they ended up gathering as many of the gods that they could find and they knew about, running into their old friend from the Dream of Isles again, or the Isle of Dreams. There we go. Hey, and got them in a circle. Got sent to the celestial plane with what remained of their power. So if they failed on removing Eshnar with this move, that was it. The gods were gone, and Eshnar was permanently in place. So they couldn't fail on it. So they came in with a huge plan, kind of got derailed a little bit, but redirected the plan, and Eshnar killed Yolondriel killed the crap out of Eshnar. Just incinerated the body, chopped it into tiny pieces, got so mad at it, and just killed him. Got rid of him, finally, and returned the gods back.
You have earned the title God Slayer.
Godslayer. He did earn the title voice of the deities, so he got appointed as their voice on the plane. Because at that point, going back to the celestial plane, they could no longer travel back down and roam around the people in person. They were stuck up there.
Gotta use an avatar, people. Hope you got somebody down here to speak the word.
Yeah. All of that was kind of thrown in shambles when Jartus made his wish. Which the last session I think is called Benevolence, because he wished for the benevolent desires of the consequences to come true.
Benevolent desires.
You got to look up the specific word of what benevolent means. It's anything
I'm
that'll
guessing-
deal no harm.
I'm guessing everything involving Brolog is just excluded.
Well, Brolog wished to become a god.
Right, didn't he? I remember
became
this.
a
What was the god he became of?
He's essentially the god of achievements. Let me go to my document. Oh yeah, I have their documents open on that one because I was making some adjustments today.
This is where I confuse the part from Nightbane on it, because the god parts right here were quite similar with one of the characters becoming a god.
Yeah. Oh, that's this Ducky Duck.
For some reason, I assume that all happened in one campaign, and I'm not sure why I put that together, but
Same time frames.
that, I'm pretty sure those episodes were a couple of years ago now.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, the document of your die sent you something like I don't know how many pages that one is. Mine's 58.
One on Andrea is 6.
That one's good and short. Let's see. Brolog became the Attained. Brolog the Attained. And then Fine Storm actually became the Knowing God. Yeah, he died technically, but he had already started down the path of assuming that role because the Knowing God had then died. He basically said when everyone else went back up, Carson refused godhood again. So the God of Beauty did not return to his seat. The Crystal Dragonborn flew back to wherever he came from. And the god of knowing chose to perish. He just said, I don't want it. I don't want to do this anymore.
I knew
I'm
too.
done."
He knew too much.
He knew too much, so he passed it on to someone else. He distributed his power and said goodbye. So Finestorm took that place because he'd started down the path of doing that. And when he died, he was just pulled up to the celestial plane and said, "Attune with the grace, you're the knowing god now." Zayden, who took their place, he became another god of the dead. So he's now ruling with the goddess of death, who rules during the day, and the god of the dead is now Zayden, who rules during the night. Something they don't realize is the sentient weapon that Finestorm carried was technically considered part of the consequences. So he became a god too.
Oh, wonderful! The sentient weapon is now a god.
Andre, god of the sea. He loved being on the ocean, so he's the god of the sea.
This entire time, I thought Finestorm was god of the sea because of his boat obsession.
Yeah, that's a wonderful misconception that, trust me, the knowing god, who Finestorm is, delights in. He loves it when people get what he's the god of wrong. Basically looks at him and says, "Oh, what do you know?"
He probably just shows up in a boat and a pirate hat at all
God of the
times
box
just to
roots.
make it
Oh,
worse.
Yeah. Ooh. Yes, he would. But then, Yolandriel.
Hans is over here in chat just spreading the good word of the boxer briefs.
Yes.
Do you want to be comfortable and not sag? Do you
Try
want to
my
not look
boxer
like you're
briefs.
wearing tidy whities?
Try my boxer briefs. I wear
You
them
want to
for
give
3
the
days
ladies
and then
something
send
to
them
play
you.
with?
Try my boxer briefs. I'd rather try Hans's.
Or, just go buy some new like a normal human being.
Hey Hans, I'll give you my P.O. box. Just literal and figurative domain. My boxer
Domain
briefs.
expansion. Boxer
Boxer
briefs. You just get constantly bombarded in the face by a pair of unwashed boxer briefs.
I don't think I'm getting
Why does
bombarded.
it smell like? Why does it smell like ball vinegar in here?
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
it is Thursday.
Yes, it is. It is. This is every other week. This is horny hour, but it doesn't go away just because it's every other week.
That's true.
It's Thursday. It has to be throbbing. Come on.
It's Thursday night. It's throbbing going on in my pants.
It's throbbing Thursday. Let's get down. We're gonna.
Oh, we are
Ladies and
special.
gentlemen, I cannot sing. So, too
Oh.
bad.
Uh,
Okay, so
Yeah, that brought back the gods, or the deities of Nathriel, which is a huge thing for going into Irodai because of some stuff that existed in Irodai during that time frame. Only being one god and then that one god getting removed and violently removed, all their power gone. What do you think happens to the clerics and the paladins during the time of them having no divine power given to them?
well, I'm guessing all the ones who were, not part of Eshnar's cult were probably just screwed the entire time. And other than a couple of people who met their wandering gods, they're probably fucked off to the four winds. Meanwhile, Eshnars were probably doing great right up until they got their crap knocked in, and then all of a sudden they realize, oh hey, our god is dead. Okay, so hey, that beggar down the street that we've been mocking because he didn't believe in our god? Yeah, suddenly he just cast smite.
Right. So,
Why are the
Eshnar-
hobos casting smite?
Eshnar is he's a couple degrees like Marcus as well. He burnt all of the books depicting the old religions. He had his priests go through, hunt down the temples, hunt down the old priests, kill them all, burn the books, destroy everything, he basically did his best to remove all evidence of other gods, to the point where thousands of years passed, or I think it was about 1,200 years or so passed by. No, it was just 500 years. No, it was no, it was quite a while. It's quite. I can't remember the exact time frame anymore. But after so many years, people just forgot there were other gods at some point because all the evidence had been destroyed.
I mean, how many gods do we remember from 500 years ago?
Not that many, yeah.
Not really.
How many are still
Most of the
being
gods we do
worshipped?
remember show up as demons in the Bible, and that's about how all they're remembered.
That's true, yeah.
Like, this is Baal Hadad, who was once worshipped. Now he is a demon. Enjoy. He is bald.
He's bald.
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 Like, literally, if you see the word Baal in a lot of contexts, it literally just means Lord.
Huh. I don't know that.
Yeah, it's literally it's not a name, it's a title. Baal Hadad, a bunch of Baals. Yes, balls everywhere, people. It's a ball pit.
I
Wait, the only one I can think of is Baal
heritage of the
Hadad.
gods, that's true. I mean, they just couldn't stop banging things.
I mean, look, Zeus turned into a swan, among other things, to go get his shit. I don't doubt it that the gods were doing all kinds of shenanigans. Like, come on, if you gave them Loki powers, they're going to abuse it.
Oh, it's great. It's wonderful stuff. Now that, I think, is about all I can think to mention. Do you have any specific questions regarding?
Well, I do got a couple more.
Okay, sweet.
How did the consequences meet?
Oh, they were hired. So a couple of them were hired.
The original ones were hired.
The original ones, yeah. So the original five, out of the original five, which only two of them remained, Yolondriel and Brolog. They were the only two original members at the end, and they were both mercenaries. Well, sort of. Yolondriel was a refugee in a temple of Eshnar, where the breastplate and the halberd of Eshnar rested. He found himself there after wandering through one of these portals in a different world called Corsinia, where he had been trapped for a very long time by his brother, who he learned he and Emlar, his brother, were both creations of Eshnar. They were basically celestials made to do his bidding, because he couldn't go down to the plane to kill the other gods and collect their power. So he created two beings to do it for him, Yolondriel and
Oh, so that's how that's how he was able to just bitch slap a god.
Yeah, he was made to do that to gods.
Bitch slap
To
gods.
bitch slap gods. And kill them and take their power. That's what he originally went to Quayla really to do, was to find the gods and kill them. Because he thought they were all bad gods, but then he learnt the true history of what was going on while he gathered his armor. So he was sent on essentially a holy mission by the high priest to join this escapade across the seas to negotiate and meet other nations. Brolog was hired for the same reason, as a bodyguard mercenary, same as Zarai. They were all brought in to escort Paraspidus, who was supposed to be the ambassador, who was a magus and the ward of both the prince and the princess. They both took care of him and raised him after his parents died. And Anubisai was also hired as basically a mercenary due to her reputation. The rest of them, Relly they found by chance and just wanted to go on an adventure and said, "Hey, can I come with you?" I didn't know what they were getting into.
We met him in a shack one day. We just never lost him.
Kind of, yeah. Jartus was much the same way. They met someone who was trying to get down to the center of the bad stuff that was going on in Shallows. She eventually died. She got killed by the assassins. But she introduced them to Jartus, who was a magic wielder, and she said, "Look, magic wielders, they don't do well in Andrea. They're hunted. They're either killed or they're brought to the collective. Can you please protect him? Because I have to protect him, but what I'm doing is dangerous, and I can't do that anymore, basically." So Jartus ended up traveling with them and didn't need protecting. He was very capable of it himself, but she was very protective of him. Let's see, and Fine Storm was he came on the same island, actually, and just started following them. Saw some interesting aspects about them and was like, I'm pretty sure I can help. I'm pretty sure there's a good fortune behind this. So I'm
The
gonna
way
do
you
this.
describe it, it sounds like you were just wandering and a pack of stray animals just started following you.
Kinda, yeah. Just wandering
Like, hey,
around
we
and
have a
people just kind of
werewolf. Here's like a tabaxi.
a werewolf that ended up marrying the person that turned him into a werewolf.
Who himself went through the gender blender
Yeah, yes. Oh,
and
that's
had their tongue cut out.
a lot of nasty things. A lot of nasty things. Let's see.
Okay, let's
oh,
see. Second question.
Zayden, actually, the last one, he was
Yes,
introduced
yes.
because this particular kind of creation from the Bad Marcus could envelop your body, crush you to death, and then absorb your body. Not absorb it. It would dump your body, but then it would take your features. So Zayden got a massive explosion in the side of the flying ship during his assassination attempt. Was wrapped around Finestorm. Finestorm died on the impact, but Zayden didn't. And then he just dumped the body, took on Finestorm's shape, got picked up by the party, but through the acquisition of Finestorm's knowledge, learned that he was serving a terrible master. So he betrayed his master, kept his secret, and just played as Finestorm, and helped the consequences.
So basically, he just stole another character.
He just stole another character.
He's like, I'm you now because I turned you into gore.
I remember the conversation I had with Stitch on that, because he was like, what are we gonna do? Like, I know Zayden wouldn't have died from that, because, fun fact, the first time I ever ran this campaign, Stitch was part of that campaign, part of that table, and that was when he played Zayden. That was his character.
Oh,
From
so
the
Zayden's
first
a
time
legacy
round.
character.
Zayden's a legacy character.
So this campaign's all been played once before then.
3 times before.
Ah.
I have several renditions, different renditions that went through, which comes into play for campaign 2.
This is why you have multiverse shenanigans going on.
Yeah. I have fun multiverse shenanigans.
Look, if I've warned you people multiple times, stop moving fucking chairs. Look, last time you moved on, we got AT-AT walkers in World War II. Come on, stop moving chairs.
Tangerine should know about chairs.
Look, I'm tired of getting like the Mongol Empire in the 1950s. Just please stop fucking with the timeline, people.
Oh.
All right, question 2. How did this whole thing end?
Oh. Yes. It ended with Jartis making the wish, pulling a really fast one on me. Like, the Bad Marcus was literally about to, like, get up to the place. I had them in the back end of their feet. I really had them on the defensive. And Ben pulled something out of his butt, ended up next to it, grabbed the thing and made his wish.
I
Met
have
the wish
dimension door.
giver. Ask your question, Tangerine. Ask your questions. Where's that Nalrin? Wait, Nalrin. Nalrin. I need to remember who Nalrin is. She might be dead. A lot of the NPCs died in the end. It was awful. I loved it, actually. It was great. Made my life easier.
You're probably like, finally, I can just cross these people off the list. I don't have to remember who they are. Just go over here into the trash bin and forget you ever existed.
I don't have to keep that history going. What happened to them after everything? I don't know. Nalrin, who's... Oh, she wrote your book. Oh, that's campaign 2. Nalrin. I'm remembering now. Yes. She's still alive. She's not dead. She's still in the archipelago. You guys left and never found her.
Somebody's over there just clinging to hope that someday someone will save them from this isolation.
They almost got close.
They're just sitting there on like the Aleutian Islands or some shit, just like a limestone island with nothing but rocks. Like they've ate nothing but seal blubber for the last 10 years, and they're like, "Please save me! I want to eat a hamburger."
So, you know the SCP universe, right?
No, I never played a campaign in there at all.
I took concepts from the SCP universe and I threw them all into the archipelago of the gods, which
Oh, lovely.
lies in between Iridai and Andrea.
See, you say this, and my immediate first thought is Stalker, because the book that it's based on, it's just some aliens pop by Earth, have a picnic, throw some garbage out, and it fucks everything up. It fucks space-time up in this area forever. It's like they weren't even trying to do anything. This was just like the garbage thrown out of the back of their spaceship, and it's just enough to warp reality and break everything nearby. Like the mortal mind cannot comprehend this.
Yeah.
Dear gods, please stop leaving your orphan sources in our backyards. We would really appreciate this.
Oh gosh.
No. If there is like gods who cannot be accounted for by humans, then at some point there's going to be an order of human clerics who are just the TVA equivalent, whose entire job is to go around and find divine shenanigans and just put it under lock and key. They're basically the 5e equivalent of the SCP Foundation. It's like, oh hey, that's a nice magical artifact you got there from a god. Hey, what's that over there? I'm just gonna put this over. Yeah, okay, don't worry. This is fine. It's contained. You don't need a sword that can kill people when you think about them. You got no reason to have that. Like honestly, at this point, like all of Irish mythology is just sitting in the SCP universe. Because if you've ever seen some of the weird weapons in Irish mythology, where they can just like a spear that no matter where you throw it, it'll kill anything you throw at it and always return to your hand. Fuck that. The SCP universe just has a warehouse somewhere in Ireland just full of this crap going, we cannot let any of this get out because like this one turns people into frogs when you stab them. What are we supposed to do with this?
Have fun with it. But the island or the place Zeledo was the capital of the collective. So they'd been collecting magical items and magical people for so many years. Of course.
The magic people decide to fucking set up in God's blind spot.
This swarm of undead creatures coming up under Marcus's command up to these giant magical gates that had never been assaulted before because it's in the middle of a swamp. Defended by these magical people, a bunch of different nations come together. It was a whole collaborative effort. The War of Andrea really coming to a climax. Marcus makes it down, or the Unknown, to be precise, makes it down. Jardis makes his wish. And his benevolent side of the wish was that the Unknown was destroyed, utterly demolished. So as he's reaching out, his hands just starts turning to dust. And he eventually just turned to dust and was destroyed.
Oh, he didn't even get the dignity of Thanos, where he's like the last one of his army to still be intact, and he gets to sit down and kind of let out a breath. Like, just know,
Marcus can eat my fat strong. Everyone hates Marcus. I think that's a sign of a good and big
Tangerine wants to pop Marcus's collar. What the hell? To pop the choker. What the hell?
Right. That is a good BBG. I like that.
We said that good Marcus deserves to be fed into a wood chipper head first. Bad Marcus deserves to be fed into a black hole wood chipper that spaghettifies you and takes about half millennia, well, half the age of the universe to, shred your atoms into nothing.
When unfortunately his end was a little too kind. He just turned to dust and was destroyed. After that, the whole city of Zeledo was ripped from the ground and turned into a giant island. Over a floating island over where Nutra used to be. So it now flies and floats over the ruins of Nutra.
Yeah, could you imagine if you had gravity neutralization magic and you just I cast gravity? Just drop that entire thing. It wouldn't?
It wouldn't work. No, it wouldn't work. The magic... So here's the thing, the Magus are the most capable to known lore right now. They are the most capable arcane wielders. They don't understand how the crystals work.
Oh, so they have no idea what's making this fly?
None at all.
Of
Haven't
course.
even the foggiest. Like these are strange things. They've tried experiments, and most of the time, the people who tried die in the process. So it's kind
Lovely.
of been forbid for a while. It's like, maybe we should just let them be and try to figure more stuff out. Because apparently there's more than one. Because the island of Zenus, where they come from and live, is also one. It has a giant green crystal at the center of it. That was the one that was actually activated by Eshnar when he made his wish to become a god, or the one true god of Nathriel.
Turns out he didn't do his wish as well as he should have. He should have wished that he was the only god and that he ate all the other gods. Should have done that, because surprise.
He realized this fully afterwards. He was quite upset.
I'm guessing in your setting, gods manifesting in the material world is extremely difficult for them, if not impossible.
Now, yeah, so once you get relegated to the celestial plane in godhood, like in Ascension, you can no longer walk amongst the material plane. You can only speak through voices or signs. So that's why they use Yolondriel now, who's now the voice of the deities, who travels around teaching people about the different faiths, rebirthing and bringing the religions back. They use him primarily to speak to the other nations, and to the priests and the higher stuff and such.
That's basically how one of my settings works, except there's one god who somehow just doesn't do that. It's like, oh, hey, yeah, gods aren't supposed to manifest their full power in the material. What the hell is he doing? Why did he just take another god outside of, like, literally the observable universe? Okay,
Great.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a out of, what is it, a Black Swan incident? We did not see this coming.
Black Swan incidents, they're great.
Like, they're not supposed to be able to do that. Generally, mortals are supposed to have their brain shredded by going through apotheosis, so having them not have their brain shredded is already bad enough for you. It's like, hey, you remember all that shit you did to that mortal for a couple hundred years trying to, bullshit off? Oh, yeah, no, they're now a god. They remember everything you did.
Oh boy.
They were supposed to be a gibbering mass of flesh. What happened?
I became sentient and ascended.
It turns out its hatred for you was bigger than anything else.
Oh, Tangerine's in with a question that I've answered several times.
How do mimics work?
Like the house, which was the house that was alive. The basically giant mimic. That giant
Yes.
house. Magic. It was grown magically by what's-his-facey, by True Marcus, who may have utilized one of his soul gems to make it big and housey again. Turn it into a house. He manipulated it and turned it into what he wanted it to be, to use and to serve him, and it was brilliant. They caught dolphins and ate dolphins. It was great.
Have a deity who does stuff like this because their domain is mortal flesh. So their entire thing is, I need to get more bodies to add to my giant flesh domain, which is, like you say, basically an entire just domain of basically a mansion made out of flesh, except this is a small planet at this. Well, not a small planet, a large planet at this point.
Oh, like Ego in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, except instead of ego, just kind of imagine an eyeball, where except instead of being an eyeball, it's like it looks like it's a mountain range down there on the planet.
Oh yeah,
It's just not a mountain range. It's made out of just flesh and bones and trillions upon trillions of sacrificed organic beings. Elder gods are universally bad things.
I appreciate Tangerine's response to, I've answered this question before. I don't give a fuck. Answer me again.
I wish to know.
Like, answer it again, damn it.
Could you imagine that you're like a god of knowledge in any setting, and you just keep getting the same wizard calling you up every Sunday, asking the same damn question every time?
Oh.
You've told him every single time, it's like, this is exactly what the answer is to what you are seeking, and every time he just keeps going, but what if it's not? Sir, you've called me every day for the past 200 years. Please stop calling.
So,
I was your patron once, 200 years ago.
Stop, please. Oh, let's. Oh gosh, yeah. So there's actually keep that in mind for campaign 2, because I did give Tefles and Catan a little piece of paper where they can ask the knowing god a single question during certain phases of the moons. And one of the most recent question was genuinely brilliant. I'm trying to remember the exact wordage and how I responded to it, but it was such a long time ago. I should have pinned that comment. Tanj, do you remember? Because it revealed so much in just a simple little question.
And must know.
I must know. Maybe? The house's benefit? A nice, warm place to stay that will always take care of you, won't let any enemies in, supposedly.
I mean,
That-
you could also just cast Mordekainen's Magnificent Mansion. I mean, come on.
But Mordekainen's Magnificent Mansion you have to cast every single day, because it only lasts for 24 hours. This is a mansion you don't have to cast a spell on, you just have to open the door and walk in.
That's fair, but it's a ritual spell. Come on, it's not that hard.
That's fair, that's fair.
Although, which spell is it? The one where you basically just summon a little room, an extra dimensional space that you can go into?
Oh, something pocket dimension.
Yeah, the pocket dimension spell, and then you just, delete door.
Mhm.
I cast delete door.
Now, some would say, oh, hey, here it is. The cookie,
Get immediately punted out if there's no door. Yeah.
the cookie question.
If they don't.
So one thing to remember about what is it, the tiny hut that we got? It's a dome. It doesn't cover underneath. Things can go through the ground and up, and then be in the dome. They can't go through the top, but they can go underneath.
Hmm.
And you can't
High
have
class cloud kill.
cloud kill. Let's kill everything. All right, I found the question.
Fun fact: Veilpip is banned from using that spell because it is too violent for a character of his disposition. Actually, have a lot of spells on the list that are just kind of banned because Veilpip is supposed to be a good character, and it is very easy for a character like him to just become
Very evil.
Yeah, so like I have a list of spells that he's just not allowed to use because like throwing like any acid damage from him except maybe like the lowest level acid spell is going to be like, why is Veilpip throwing acid at people? Like maybe he's squeezing lemons in people's eyes. That would be the worst I could see him doing, and you better be a kobold stabby guy for that.
So we got the question. The question that Teflasa
What about Fireball?
asked. Oh, what about Fireball? Yeah. Well, the question Teflasa asked was, what do you know about the universe restarting? Because they've recently discovered that Nathriel runs in cycles. Every roughly 10,000 or so years, it resets. It starts back to the beginning of the birth of the planet and starts going again.
Huh.
So
Yeah, that's a lot better than the setting where everyone just dies every billion years and no one knows why.
yeah, it just genuinely resets. So they asked the question, what do you know about the universe restarting? The answer that they got was, who said it was the universe?
I'm having flashbacks into Bloodheim where time just started to go fucky wucky with everything. It's like, hey, was that volcano always down there?
In this case, something that I don't know. Well, it cycles itself. They've discovered through that question. They know that it's not the whole universe that cycles. It's just Nathriel, and they're getting invaded by these demons from different planes right now. So there's a lot of fun questions starting to pop up in campaign 2 as well, because we're dealing with different things. We're not dealing with a mad mage who wants to rule the world. He's been defeated. We've returned the gods, so the gods are back. So now we're hopping into deeper aspects of other little bits that they've learned of Nathriel, like what's this thing behind these green stones? What are these green stones? Because there's one now in Iradai that only popped up 5 cycles ago or 5 years ago. That's a fairly recent one.
I imagine it's got to be kind of annoying to just keep those green crystals away from any asshole who might go, I wish I was king. Oh shit, why am I flying?
So fun fact, we have a one-shot with my home group where, so these crystals, there's, they don't know the exact number, there's only 17 of them in the world. Roughly about 13 of them have been activated. They only give you one wish when they're used. After that, they no longer give any more wishes. They're just these things that power these giant floating islands.
So which god seeded the world with these?
They're really hard to find. You mainly just stumble upon them. I led them into a little cavern and had them stumble upon it, just because I was curious to what wish they might give. And they ended up the royal court of Balishtar. The one who made the wish is now king.
Oh, lovely. So he literally said, I wish to be king.
He just said, I wish I had the power to resolve all these problems. And the wish giver said, I could have fun with this, and made him king.
I wish I was a technological singularity.
I could have fun with this, microchip.
Actually, one of the gods in my setting is, in fact, a technological singularity, and none of the other gods can figure out why he can kick their ass in the mortal realm every single time.
Oh, that's cool.
As it turns out, he's not actually a god. He's just... I have tech.
Tech. You should be allowed to eat the stone for science. Teffy would die. I will tell you that now. Anyone who eats the stone for science will die.
Look, we already discussed players exploding from overhealing. You're definitely going to explode if you eat the crystal that makes you cast a wish.
The amount of arcane power in the size of a tiny little itty-bitty portion of that would cause you to explode. Or
Juice
just get
that
cooked.
makes you explode.
Yep. Don't eat the rock. No tangerine, not taffy. No. No, I refuse. Again, remember, I won't let you do things that are very, very harmful. Because we need tangerine. We don't want tangerine to do things that are dangerous.
Look, at this point, tangerine's not allowed near volcanoes, the ocean, probably not allowed in space.
It's going to be difficult for the ocean, though. They have
Probably not allowed around the entire continent of Australia. Whatever that island is off the coast of Brazil, that's nothing but snakes. Nope.
If it's blue and covered in little tiny dots and looks like a squid and is maybe only a couple of inches long, don't touch it. You will die within seconds. It is the most poisonous squid in the world.
Most of these stuff in the ocean is either in the category of, oh god, it's horrifying, or oh god, it's neurotoxin.
There is also Snake Island off of the coast of Brazil. I think it houses over 2,000 different species of snake.
Yeah,
Fun
it's
fact.
to the point, the snake density there is so high that if basically any square meter of the ground, I think, has like 3 snakes in it.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's just... Oof.
He's
Look,
so cute.
snakes... There's 2 things I don't want. I don't want Snake Island, and I don't want to go to Australia when you have the entire tree is just a cobweb from the spiders.
Yeah.
Look, I'm
Oh.
sorry, when either of these 2 stages have reached this point, it is time to call in napalm from the sky. Call in an eagle napalm strike. That's the only way.
Hell divers. Okay.
By the way, did you see the new major order? We got a new war mech.
Oh my gosh.
This one has auto cannons.
That's so good.
So yeah, we might need to be busy this weekend so we don't fail this major order because we failed like the last 3 in a row.
Oof, yikes. Yeah, we'll have to try.
The player count's kind of low, folks. Come dive with us, people, for democracy.
Loth. Anyone else have any questions? Any more from you, Rytek, as well, as we wrap up the
let's
campaign
see.
1 wrap-up section?
The 2 big ones were how did they meet and how did they conclude things. Other than Marcus, which side NPC was the most memorable?
Memorable?
English. Fuck your shit. By the way, I learned out today that spelling bees are apparently an English thing, and other languages don't bother with that shit. I didn't realize that. Apparently,
How-
everyone else is just like, this is how we spell this.
It is, yeah. It's entirely an English thing. How would you spell out a Middle Eastern word?
Probably very different than how it was written in whatever Arabic book that was being translated back during the Renaissance.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause
Very, very
it's
different.
funny when you see the chain of words that started in Latin, then went over to Arabic, then went over to whatever was they were speaking in Andalus at the time, and then back into France via that. And it's just one big loop. They're literally just making a loop around the Mediterranean before they come on in.
I wonder if I can find my notes on the Lich. I forgot I
Lich
threw
was
them against the Lich. So the Lich, little history about him, he was actually one of the original friends of Eshnar, who helped him rise to ascension. Eshnar betrayed his friends as well. And he ended up
Wouldn't
getting
he?
exiled to one of the islands. And then killed by the consequences.
Of course.
Yeah. He had his own ambitions. That was kind of a side quest. He was a fun one. I think that was also when Aberrant stepped out. He took over the Lich phylactery, because the Lich used one of the soul trees as his phylactery. So this soul gem that was absorbing all the souls and lives around, he was using that to house his soul. And he basically just pulled even more power from it. He was a very, very powerful Lich. Marcus
I mean,
is
on the
body.
bright side, at least he didn't get turned into a Lego piece trying to pray to his god.
Yep. He did. They knew of him through Marcus, who found him and ended up trying to work with him for a while. But during the time where Marcus started becoming unsure about what he was doing in his path, realizing he was slowly going insane from what he was doing, and then just before he made the wish, he basically broke off all ties with the Lich. And so, like, he's an old buddy of mine, but careful dealing with him because he'll probably try to kill you. And he did.
You know,
He tried to kill
he's
him.
an old buddy of mine, but we mostly just, got drunk and murdered peasants.
Yeah.
It was a fun
Yeah.
time. I just love having a sociopathic party. It's like, you know what? Everyone in this party is bad. Like, he might be the worst out of all of you, but every last one of you is irredeemable monsters. You're just weaker than he is.
Really bad, yeah. Oh, the blue boxes. Yeah, the Magus, when they throw powerful people in prison, they throw them in a blue box, which is an arcanely constructed device that neutralizes all magic within, and it weakens
It's not
you.
fleshy with 6 eyes on the side, is it?
No,
Okay,
it's
just making
it's-
sure.
Kind of think like an arcane Pandora's box. When you get put inside, your strength, basically all your stats get sapped down to 3, the bare minimum for you to survive and still be alive. All magic is cancelled out. It's like level 9 anti-magic field. You can't do any magic inside of it. You're useless when you get put in. It is the ultimate prison. And breaking you out, you need multiple mages casting anti-magic on this blue box just to break one side of it. And going inside, you're just going to suffer the same stuff. So you got to get the person inside out in a very careful way. It's very, very hard to destroy those things. What would happen if we put a primordial in the box? You can certainly try. That's how I'll answer that question.
What happens if you try to put a god who is still actively a god in the box?
You can certainly try.
What if you put Gojo in the box?
You can certainly try. Who makes the
I
boxes?
mean,
The Magus.
he got out of the other box they put him in, so it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
How the hell do you keep getting out?
The Magus made the boxes, and they do not give them out to other people. If you are not a Magus, you cannot use the box. Like, it requires that innate magical capabilities.
So this is just going to guarantee that there's some poor magus just covered head to toe in anti-magic stuff, so he can't cast any spells, and he's basically being used like the guy from District 9, where he's just being used to trigger the technology since he's got the right genetics.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, pull this trigger.
Nalrin is not a Magus. Nalrin is actually a Permavolgian, There's
Aurora.
Permavolgan. It's another continent, just off of the southeastern side of Eremathus. That is essentially it's known as the Land of Surges, where magic basically bubbles out of the ground like a geyser would bubble up and pop out.
So we have found Magic Indonesia.
Magic Indonesia. That's it. Yep. Yeah. Kind of like
Lovely.
that. Where if you get caught in the center of one of these surges, you get changed genetically in so many different ways. Basically, everyone who lives in Permavolga is a Surge Blessed. That's what they call themselves. Most Eremathus call them Surge Cursed. And has
Is
an
this where
entire
you have
order
your
hunting
version
them.
of Chaos spawn at, where just the abomination that is tentacles and hands just everywhere? Because
Uh-huh.
it's like, hey, look, you see that sheep over there, and you just see this beam of energy shoot out from the ground, and now it's just a sheep with deer antlers, and you just see 6 arms coming out the back. Don't eat that. That'll give you cancer.
Don't eat that. That's bad. Bad time's coming. Yeah, that's... So now Rin, she's not a magus, but she is of a specific... She's an elven heritage, which my world, I'm actually going to be changing all those. We won't be calling them by the 5e canonical terminologies anymore.
You're getting homebrewed.
We're getting homebrewed. We're getting fully homebrewed at some points. The Hand has met a magus before. They met the guy who was blackmailing Ultian. He's a magus. He's the leader of the Eleud Order, which they have fun names for it. Like the most elite magus warrior out there, they're called librarians. Because they're very astute and capable in magic.
Games Workshops would like to know your location.
That's different, very, very different. If they could claim that on something completely separated.
Let's be honest. At that point, okay, one, they have used terms from every single bit of sci-fi out there. So
Yeah.
who are they to go cast stones at a glass house? But two,
Yeah.
there's no name scheme there that's actually original. Come on.
Yeah.
Everything is
That is
borrowing
true.
from something that's already exists.
That's
Come on,
very
they
true.
had a character named what was it? Not Hannibal. They had a character named after. Oh, I can't remember who it was. It was some famous emperor throughout history. I was like, oh yeah, that's totally not famous emperor. That's totally just like a bodyguard. Yeah, totally.
Tanj, Teffy does not know about blue boxes. There's no way she knows about them. It's never been mentioned to her. It's never come up in lore inside of Iridai. There's no way she knows about blue boxes. And again, only maguses can use blue boxes. So even if Teffy were able to get their hands on one, which they would never be able to, they would not be able to use it.
They just gotta find a magus, and they just got to trap them to it and hijack their brain. Look, it's gonna take some pretty good neuroscience, but you can get that magus to do what you want them.
You're gonna have to be
Even
level
if it
20.
takes a lobotomy.
Yeah. Only the most powerful can create them and use them as well. So you're talking about being a level 20 magus at that point. I mean, these are highly powerful things, and they're not portable. They are
They're
stuck.
just gonna get to like level 30 or some other epic level and go in there and decide, you know what, screw it. See this level 20 boss over here on the other side of the continent? Yeah, we're just gonna turn them into a servitor.
Oh, Warhammer. I love it. I don't collect the models. I don't like the models. Too much.
Yeah, I
don't
have
like the lore
5
and the
Space
fl-
Marines on my shelf, and that was too much. I mean, and this was back before, inflation decided to make us all its bitch.
Right.
These
Yeah.
are still too much for minis and paint. It's like, honestly, the joke that crack is cheaper has been a thing for a very long time with Warhammer.
It is.
And let's be honest, people, you are paying for injected molded plastic.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to be fair, when I get those TTRPG manuals back there, I'm paying for a tree that's been desecrated.
You are, but
I'm using it at least more frequently.
let's be honest, the book has more utility because you only need one book and you can run however many groups that you want.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you're trying to do like a 40k army, you need a large amount of these plastic models that you'd have to buy and ostensibly paint, although I know not everyone actually paints them for that.
They just put them together and leave them.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, maybe some of these plastic models are overpriced for what you're paying. I mean, it's plastic, people, come on.
We could say the same stuff though about Magic the Gathering, any other card game that requires.
I do
deck
say that
building
about
stuff.
most of those
I
Magic
do
the
as well.
Gathering.
So, but let's be fair to the people who enjoy that stuff. We're very happy
Miniatures
they
at least
enjoy
come
them.
with the artistic flair of them, because there are some
Mhm.
really damn looking 40k miniatures out there.
Oh yeah, gosh.
They just shouldn't cost an arm and a leg and a thigh and a bone just because you want a bunch of these little miniatures that are this tall.
If you want to see some good miniature gameplay, go check out YouTube. What is it, Games Night by the Orcscast? Good stuff there. Ben does a good job with his model stuff.
By the way, do you still have that one? What is it, Epic Minis or the guys who used to be a sponsor in your chat for Twitch? The mini folks. They used to have
Oh,
the
Epic Minis. Yeah. Go check out
pirate
Epic
writing
Minis too.
Yeah.
Monolithic
Is it
Miniatures.
Monolith?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Monolith.
Monolithic Miniatures. Go check him out. This is a friend of mine. He
Like, we're
he
talking
makes
about
some
minis
incredibly good
here.
minis. Yo, some really good stuff.
Yeah, it always threw me off because it's monolithic minis, but the command is epic minis.
That's because they're epic.
And if you put mono
Monolithic's
minis,
too big. Mono
well, you could
minis.
just put
ugh.
mono. If you just put mono minis, you're gonna assume that you got the kissing disease because you made out with a model.
Yeah. Or you're getting sent the kissing disease with the model. I kissed
Enjoy.
everyone, so when you paint it, you'll
Nurgle
get
sends
sick.
his regard.
Okay.
Any last questions, folks?
Last
'Cause
questions.
I think for actually, I think I can come up with one more question. Is there anything major other than a couple of the characters you mentioned, of things from campaign 1 that'll pop up in campaign 2 is like just aha moments?
Yes. Jeth, the black market dealer of the Chalice Estates, the guy who ran basically the entire underground, left the Chalice Estates and headed up to Iridai, where he comes from originally. Changed his race through the help of Callus to be from an orc to an elf to appear that way. And he actually runs the guild that the Hand joined.
So he's either the least sophisticated elf or the most sophisticated orc.
He is the most sophisticated orc. He's a high-powered... Vale Pip would love him. Okay, so he creates this little box, right? Filled up with these tiny little crystals. The crystals are magic items that he made, but then trapped into these crystals. He sells pulling of those crystals to people, saying, it's like a mystery box. You pay me this much, you get a pull from this section, and you get an item either worth that value or worth more of that value.
He's literally those those little coin
Yes,
drop
Hans, I will buy that.
machines where you drop the coin in, give it a twist, and it drops out a random prize.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
he's doing that.
He's doing that. He does that kind of stuff, and he's covered in these wands. Like, most of his stuff is just wand use. He'll reach into a sleeve and pull out a wand and use it. And he used to be an orc. Now he looks like a nearly 7-foot tall elf who's very muscular because Callus's potion didn't fully work.
For some reason, I'm just picturing an orc in elf face.
No, Tendrin, Callus will never actually be able to change anyone into a Magus race because there's a component that he cannot replicate. And that is their magical nature and connection to magic that cannot be replicated. Unfortunately.
Now, hear me out. What if you took a Magus, flicked their mind into the astral realm forever, took the mind of someone else, and then boop, 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 and just shoved it into the now empty puppet?
Now, if you recall, I already told you a way to do that.
I don't
The
recall.
Unknown did it with the princess.
Oh,
Pulled her soul out into a jar and put someone else inside, assuming the body of a Magus. During that time, that being who was in her body could speak and understand Magus. Only time in their life. Otherwise, if you cast Light Comprehend Languages, all you're hearing is apricot, screen, C12, C, tree, grass, random words. None of it will make any sense. There's no pattern to it. The language cannot be understood by anyone other than a magus.
You're just begging to have all of these maguses get Kenjaku'd.
There's only about 3,000 of them in the world. They're a very, very limited race. Their birth rate has an 80% fatality, including the children and the mother. So it's very rare for a birth to actually be successful. 20% chance, basically. They die most of the time.
So body surfing in the magus community would be definitely a way better way.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you've only got like 2,999 backups before you're out of lives.
Lives, yeah. Welcome to Body Surfing with Magus. It is possible, but Magic Jar, I think, is a level 6 spell. So, again, you have to be a pretty powerful arcane practitioner for that.
Time to become an evil wizard.
Yep.
How long has your wizard been alive? 1.7 million years. Oh, fuck.
Oh.
Honestly, how terrifying would it be to, like, you have a setting where people live 120 years at max, and then you just have creatures casually wandering around that are millions of years old, and they're not even considered gods. Like, yeah, we're small. We're very small.
I think I actually have to say that my most memorable NPC is Eula. I never expected them to fix her.
Sounds like it. I mean, found basically a deaf mute, and you decided to go, hey, let's fix this person.
Yeah. Let's put them back together. And then the surprise of Yolondriel. We had a lovely scene, actually, where Yolondriel said, yeah, me and Eula are in bed still. Like, it's morning, it's too early. And Brolog had a tendency of not knocking. So we had this great scene of Brolog opening the door, and, well, Eula's on top. And Yolondriel's there. And it's like, knock, Brolog!
It's not that hard! Please, just knock!
Please, just knock.
Look, if you don't knock, I won't apologize when you find me balls deep in one of our party mates.
Yeah. I think she was my favorite NPC. But pertaining to this one, the Aleuds play a big part. They only briefly touched on the Aleuds. They should be playing a pretty good part on it. The fact that the gods are back, that's a pretty good signifier. They have actually met Callus, older Callus now. He's now not a boy anymore, he's a man. It's been 36 years since Campaign 1. So he's
Callus is a boy. I did not assume that.
Oh yeah, he was a boy. He was another genetic experiment kept at that age for a very long time.
Okay. I was like, what in the hell? How are they... Like, how is he remaking people into different races if he's just a child? Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. He was doing it when he was a child too. He's, again, incredibly capable with potion craft. Very, very capable with that. They have actually, I don't think they realized it yet, or know it yet, but Liliana and Jack, the two primary assassins who ended up betraying the Unknown at the end and abandoning their forces, they've met them and run into them. Both of them. They've come into Sabre. Again, they've actually hired Sabre to fly them around for a bit. And Yolondriel and Eula's daughter. They traveled with her for a while.
Ooh. Legacy NPC.
Yeah. Legacy stuff. You've met Jack in Campaign 2. You certainly have. I'm not going to tell you who he is, but you've met him. Same thing with Liliana. Oldest character in my setting is a little under 8 billion years old. Wow.
Let's just say that the universe gets its shit wrecked every billion years, and He's from the original.
Well, we'll get into lore of the next campaign and talk about the continent of Iridai next time round, because as
Yes.
Rytanks mentioned, Andrea document information stuff is like 6 pages long. The Iridai one is a lot bigger. Mine
He's huge.
It's huge, yeah. I think the one I send to people is 27 pages or so. Mine's at 58 now, and that's
The
not
one I
including
got
most of my written.
The one that you sent me is. Give me a moment. It's loading.
Yeah, it takes a while to load.
Oh, it's only one. Oh wait, no, wait. This is the Iridai one. I got the 9-page Iridai one.
Oh, 9 pages. Oh, I gave you even a shorter one.
Yeah, you gave me the one that's actually basically
like the
comparable
briefs.
to the comparable to the Nathriel or not Nathriel,
I was gentle.
the other
with
one
you
you
then.
sent me. Yes.
I was very gentle. Because in this one, it's a bigger continent for one. It's much bigger. You could probably put 3 of Andrea in it. There are more than 2 nations, more than 4 organizations altogether. So you're not dealing with just the Shallows, Recloria, Lebon, and the Collective. You've got the Grantinian Senate, the Kingdom of Balashtar, Savoth Dominion, Vesuth Republic, Trillic Union, State of Optula, the Globshak Marshes, and also the Gruten Smiths. Which
And
we
this,
haven't
by
touched
the
on.
way, people, this is all less complicated than just like 17th century European history.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like that sounds like a lot of kingdoms. It's not when
It's
you
not.
start putting it on a map. It's really not.
It really isn't. But
It's
we'll
like
get...
if you want to do like just look at a map of the Holy Roman Empire and all of its little subdirectories, and you will realize, okay, nothing you write in fiction is going to come close to the just like even Warhammer 40k doesn't come close to how stupidly over the top some of this was.
Eremathos.
I forgot
Eremathos
he-
does, which we're not there though, and we've never gone to that continent. This time frame, it gets really close to medieval Europe. In that sense, it's split so badly.
And I'm sure your head is just going, I can't deal with all these factions anymore.
It's like I've got a whole world in my head. It's the reason I have to have the documents open in front of me. It's like, which one do I have? There's 17. Crap.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
This is one of the reasons I kind of like the Wikipedia format. It's like, I need to know everything about this nation. Give it to me now.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I can tell you from experience, wikis are not the most efficient time ways of creating something, because you end up doing a lot of info box maintenance, which is annoying.
Yeah.
But you end up just kind of dealing with the same thing twice. It's like, okay, how about the blurb that you have about your land and the kingdom blurb, but how about the one that's in the continent blurb?
Mm-hmm. It's that, yeah. Like, and we get unique with some of our city stuff. Like, if you know what a wedding cake looks like,
Mm-hmm.
that's how all Grantinian cities are built.
Lovely.
Like they are tiered cities. They start in a specific way and then grow out, up, out, up, out, up, but the center is always
Oh no, they can go out and then up.
out and then up. So they start.
So they got that medieval overhang thing going on, where they just get bigger every stage they go up.
Yeah, but they also, so whenever they grow out, they start at a mile wide, fill that city, build the top roof layer because it's all desert terrain, so they've got protective sand barrier stuff. Fill the top layer, build out another mile, then build up, and then fill the top layer, build out another mile, build up, build up. The tallest one is 17 tiers, and that's the capital of the whole country, which is now split in 2 because they started a revolution.
How's come our tower is leaning so far to the left? I don't know. Maybe we made the foundation a little too narrow.
Yeah, there's some fun stuff in Iridai, and there's a lot to cover in it. Because each governmental structure is very different.
Yeah, we may have to do that one in a couple of parts, depending on if we want to split up the story and the characters and side quests and everything. So
Yeah, we might have to cover Iridai first, and then go into the story stuff. Like talk about what state it was in before the hand started, because now it's in a different state. There was a point where I could say there were several nations in this world that were not at war. I can't.
And
say
now
that
it is
anymore.
literally just World War now.
It's a world war. So there's 3 nations that are fighting against the Nwork. That was to begin with. Actually, no. Yeah, it was just the Grantina. Just Grantina that was peaceful. The Trillic Union and the Balashtar Kingdom have less to worry about than Nwork, because they're all heading east, primarily. So the states of Uptula are getting bombarded by these creatures. But the Grantinian nation, which was not at war, is now at war. So the entire continent of Iridai is at war.
Lovely. So we're gonna need one on just how the world was before any of these people showed up. One just on the party members who decided to turn this powder keg into a literal nuclear bomb, and then probably one on the story itself. Okay.
It's going to be a great miniseries.
On the bright side, we only have to do episodes 1 to 38, which is still between 120 to 160 hours of campaign content.
Not quite, because we cut down a month or so. Actually, I think it was at the beginning of April. We cut
That's
down
why I'm
from
saying
doing...
more closer to 140 or so, because it's not quite 160. Because I know there's the last couple episodes were short, and then there was a couple specials in there, but it's over 120 hours.
It's a good chunk. It's a good chunk. They've done quite a bit. They've dived in quite a few areas, so we definitely got stuff to cover. It's gonna be a hoot.
No, Tangerine, you may not have the crunchy plutonium. I have the crunchy plutonium, and you may not know what I'm using it for.
Tan just wants to eat it.
I don't want to eat it. I want to cause havoc.
All right. Well, I think that's it for the day. I mean, covering campaign 1 in 2 hours and 40 minutes, not bad.
Yeah. Also, if you haven't already, go look at the new short that Michael Howe made for the Owlbear Inn for our new campaign.
It's good, people. Go check it. Go check it out.
Please enjoy my shitty puns. I've been sitting on them for a while.
They're great. Oh, I love the Pun Central.
Carford University.
I forced Michael to name the university that Vale Pip went to, because if he didn't, it was gonna be Bog Farts.
Yeah, I remember this. Yeah,
Bog
Telling
Farts
us
and
about
Carvard were built into it, and Carvard was just too good to get rid of.
Too good. But if you all have any questions for the next time round, it will be covering the initial lore of Iridai. Go into the Discord and pop them in the Heroes Feast topics. We will be sure to talk about them.
Yes,
during the
shoot
next
them
one,
there.
which will be in 2 weeks' time, because next week we'll be doing our next Wilds recording, and then the next one will be the last one and only one in June, because then I'm going on holiday, people. I'm taking
Not that you
time
guys
off.
will notice. You'll still be getting your weekly release.
There won't be any delays. I will get to go on holiday and everything will continue on like normal. In fact, there's even going to be a special one-shot airing during that time.
Doesn't even have to upload anything while he's on vacation. I've noticed that the playlist for the Wilds already has 4 videos listed in it.
It
So I was
has
like,
since the beginning.
So YouTube's like, okay, you can just upload it and premiere it in a month. We're fine. Don't worry.
I had them all as premiered, but if you put it as premiere, it'll actually show it in the head, so it can give people the time to notify. So instead now I'm putting them all up, scheduling them, and then when one airs, I'll go into the next one and click that premiere button, so that it pops them up one at a time.
Yeah, because otherwise it'll show them all, and it gets a little bit confusing.
Yeah, you're
Like,
like,
oh, hey,
wait,
which
what?
one's showing up?
Mhm.
Like, this one doesn't show for another week. Come on.
And next week for the Wilds, we have the Raging Stallion.
Yes, we get to see Clydesdale get hasted.
Yeah.
Find out how Vale Pip casts haste next time on
And
Into the Wilds.
we get to see what Edward's really good for, other than insulting people and causing problems.
I mean, we saw okay, well, this won't be for a couple more weeks, but we really saw what he is with the heals. Oh my god, those AoE heals that he popped out. I
He's
was
good.
fine. Veil Pip didn't take any damage because he's got a stupid AC, but the rest of the party was partially because of Veil Pip. Partially cannot. Not pointing fingers here, but some of the party was a little stinged.
There's a reason why Edward's a little upset at Veil Pip right now. But you guys won't find out for another month. Actually, a couple of weeks. Just a couple of weeks, because I think that's coming out not next week, but the week after. So just before our next session, for this, we'll be able to talk about that, probably.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And for those of you who enjoyed the jacked wizard shenanigans, come back for the testicular torsion.
Testicular torsion, setting bribes and not bribes. What is it? Gambling stuff, and then not paying anyone. That's great.
Also, my favorite bit is going to be the Veil Pip joke that comes up next episode with the paladins. Like, hey, what do you know about this incident?
I don't know.
I just got here, man. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just in the free beer tent, just enjoying some gnomish or some dwarfish powerlifting.
All right, before we get too many spoilers away, let's total off. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Same thing. Premiere on YouTube.
Y'all come back now.
Straight over to live. We love you all very much. Thank you for being here. We'll see you next time. Come join us on Sunday for the next premiere of Chronicles of Nathriel. It's great. I'm going off. Bye, everyone.
Go hell die for democracy.
Go hell die for democracy before I